God Jebet is actually very generous because Vegeta is too strong. In case he gets angry, the entire universe may be destroyed. However, thinking that Vegeta is a combined warrior of Son Goku and Vegeta after all, his character should not be too bad, and finally Jebet decided to tell the truth. He directly said what the old Supreme Kai said, and then said, "Actually, you shouldn't be blamed for this matter. After all, you don't know the Protoss, but the matter is here, we can only find a solution." Everyone was stunned by the words of God Jebet, even Vegeta himself was surprised. To become a god, do you need to get the position of god? In other words, if you want to become a god, you must get official approval, or you will be a black household. And according to this statement, the reason why Vegeta became a god was completely accidental. No matter how hard he tried, it was impossible for ordinary people to become gods on their own. No wonder that in the Dragon Ball Super, Zamasu is always aloof. When his strength was far from Son Goku, he was still full of gaze. The realm of God is actually monopolized by the Protoss. Ordinary people want to become gods, the only way is to get the position of god first and get promoted step by step. Well, I already understand the matter. On the surface, Vegeta didn't see what he was thinking. He just said indifferently, "Then Lord Supreme Kai, how do you think this should be handled?" Although Vegeta doesn't think he can challenge the entire Protoss system on his own, he can still do it if he just evades the pursuit of GT time and space. If it is a last resort, for the sake of his own life, even God too will do it. But obviously he was misunderstood. God Jebet didn't mean this, he just smiled bitterly. "To be honest, I don't know. Baguette, you are not a vicious villain, you even saved the earth. Even if I have enough, the power of this will not deal with you. It's just that, after all, you came from another time and space. Once discovered, the crime of disrupting time and space plus becoming a god without authorization, no one will listen to you to explain at that time, and there is no choice but to fight." Seeing that the god Jebet didn't seem to be false, Vegeta couldn't help thinking. It is mentioned many times in the original work that manipulating time is a felony. Even if Son Goku and the others go to the future to help kill the world boss, they still can't get the support of Beerus. In the end, if it weren't for the fact that all the gods in the future world were dead, including Beerus himself, I'm afraid the result would be either Son Goku and the others would not listen to persuasion to travel through the future forcibly, and then be convicted, or they would not be able to do so under Beerus's impediment. Vegeta doesn't think he has the protagonist aura like Son Goku. It's nothing more than the god Jupiter and the old Supreme Kai. If he meets other gods, I'm afraid he will start without saying a word. So, what if I leave this time and space? In the end, Vegeta backed down. It's not that he is afraid, but that he doesn't want to cause trouble to this time and space. No matter what, he also improved so much power here, and even became a god here, and he broke this place as soon as he turned around. Moreover, it has been a while since I left my time and space, and I just went back to see what the situation is now. But first, he still has to ask clearly, what if there is a god who chases directly from this time and space to his own time and space? It might as well choose to fight here. Jebet was stunned for a moment. Obviously he didn't expect Vegeta to say leave directly. After pondering for a while, God Jebet said, "If you leave, the breath has no root, it is better to deal with it. Then I can use the power of rules to cleanse it again. As long as there is no god paying special attention to this side, there should be no problems." So, Vegeta thought for a while and nodded in agreement. Originally, it was an accident for him to arrive in this time and space. Now his strength has greatly improved, and he has even exceeded the limit of this time and space. It is easy to sling Omega Shenron, and there is really no need to stay. Moreover, the words of God Jebet gave him one more idea, and maybe he could go back and try it out. The great thing is that I was still wanted in the end, and then I went to hide in time and space. Alright. When it comes to that time, it doesn't take any tricks. According to Vegeta's own estimation, Super 4 plus Super Race God adds energy to the slightest, and it can definitely fight Whis. And the blended energy he accidentally obtained before, but 20% did not completely fusion. As long as you find a way to pull the progress bar to the end, then you may be able to directly raise it to the height of the Grand Priest, then who should you be afraid of? Zeno. That guy is just a child, and you can buy him by just picking up something interesting. And Vegeta seriously suspected that Zeno had no combat power at all. Because every time Son Goku asked the question, "Is Zeno very strong?" the people asked would avoid talking about it, and instead talked about Zeno's ability to eliminate it. So does it mean that Zeno doesn't have any fart skills except for the elimination ability? If that's the case, Vegeta just finds a space and time to hide. What can Zeno do? Is it possible to eliminate all universes in all time and space? Do not make jokes. The most important thing is that Vegeta has merged the power of rules, time and space rules, breaking rules, and fighting rules. 3 rules are set in one. You may not be afraid of eliminating rules. Baguette, are you really leaving? The others didn't say anything, but Xiaofang was full of dismay, pulling on the corner of Vegeta's clothes, looking like weeping. In fact, there is not much contact between the two, but since Vegeta's transformation into Super 4, she has become Vegeta's little fan, and she has even developed into a fanatic. Now that he heard that Vegeta was leaving, and that he was leaving the entire time and space, Xiaofang couldn't stand up immediately. Huh. Vegeta has a headache. He has never been able to deal with little girls. At this time, he can only comfort him. Don't worry, as long as this incident passes, I will come back again. By the way, you guys. You can also use Shenron's ability to minimize the impact. Yeah. Xiaofang's eyes lit up for an instant, and she immediately decided secretly that she must gather the 7 Dragon Balls so that no one of the gods in other places would notice Vegeta. It's just that she doesn't know that Shenron's abilities are actually very limited. After really making this wish, it's really hard to say which step he can do. You must come back as soon as possible. In the end, Xiaofang just made up such a sentence, then tears in the corners of her eyes, and forcibly resisted not crying, turned around and ran away. Vegeta was not hard-hearted, although he did not catch up to comfort him, but he did decide that he would definitely come back in the future, even if only for Xiaofang's affection. If things go well after he returns to his time and space, I'm afraid he won't have to wait too long. The most important thing is that when he comes back, he must be upright. Vegeta and the soldiers of GT Time and Space said a simple goodbye, and promised to wait for some time after the storm to pass, will definitely come back. After that, he inspired the power of the rules of time and space, and according to the induction in the rules, he found the mark of his time and space. With a simple teleportation, his figure has disappeared in GT Time and Space, and no trace can be found anymore. It looks so simple, but I don't understand anything. Son Goku scratched his head, feeling a little bit depressed. On the surface, Vegeta's ability to travel through time and space is very similar to instant transmission. Son Goku raised the spirit of 120,000 points at the time, and his eyes widened, but he couldn't get any information. He only knew that this ability was fundamentally different from instant transmission. Vegeta hugged his arms and said proudly, if it is so simple and you can understand it, wouldn't the people who travel through time and space in this world catch a lot of people? Originally, even Vegeta after he and Son Goku fusion were defeated, Vegeta was very upset. In this world, he only identified with Son Goku as a soldier, and now suddenly a Vegeta jumped out, and Vegeta's glass heart exploded again. But then it became known that Vegeta was his and Son Goku's earring fit fighter, and Vegeta accepted it naturally. Sure enough, the only ones who can defeat them are themselves. God Jebatat had the same idea at this time, and he also sighed. As expected of Goku and Vegeta's combined warrior, he has even learned the ability to travel through time and space. It seems that his fusion is the rules of time and space. If he can really get God. In terms of position, could it be called the God of time and space? If Vegeta has only the rules of time and space, perhaps only the position of the God of time and space is more appropriate. It is a pity that in addition to the rules of time and space, he also has rules of breaking and fighting. Master Supreme Kai. What are the rules? Son Goku seemed to have heard the terrible message, and his eyes flashed immediately. Vegeta is the same, just a lot more reserved than Son Goku, but also pricked his ears. Ahem. God Jibet realized that he had leaked his mouth and was almost choked by his own saliva. He immediately changed the subject. By the way, I have to erase the traces of Vegeta's existence so as not to be sensed by other gods. I go first. As he said, God Jebet suddenly disappeared in place. What? So stingy. Son Goku complained immediately. As a single-celled person, he could see that God Jebet had deliberately changed the subject and didn't want to tell him the truth at all. Forget it. Since you don't tell me, then I will study it myself. Son Goku is full of enthusiasm. Baguette is a combined warrior between me and Vegeta. He can learn something, and I can definitely learn it too. Vegeta attacked from the side. Kakarot, you better not think about it. Since Lord Supreme Kai refuses to say it, it must be a taboo. Are you sure you want to touch it? Huh. Son Goku didn't think about it. In the past, his answer is definitely to ignore it. But now, even Vegeta was afraid of it, and he had to think more about it. Humph. Vegeta sneered, I am more curious about the Super Saiyan realm than those messy rules. When Vegeta comes back, I must learn that level of transformation, and you can study those by yourself. Rules, I won't be with you anymore. After Vegeta finished speaking, he didn't say hello, leaving everyone behind and flew away by himself. Looking at the direction he is going back, needless to say, it must be the gravity room at home. Ah, Vegeta, you are so cunning. Son Goku reacted, and immediately shouted, Super Saiyan 4 is one step ahead of you. This time I will definitely catch it back. I will become ahead of you, Super Game God. After that, he also left everyone behind and ran away, but the destination was the Temple of Heaven. On the spot, Son Gohan and the others looked at each other, then smiled bitterly. Speaking of which, has anyone seen the Super Saiyan transformation? Piccolo asked. Since it is a state of transformation, even if it is called a god, it must be different from the realm of gods, so he is not worried that Son Goku and Vegeta will touch taboos. Everyone was stunned for a moment. It seemed that they were in the field. No one had seen it before, and now they only knew that Son Goku had seen it once. In that case, how did Vegeta become a super game god? A smear of my eyes and comprehend it. Are you kidding me? Trunks explained. After the dance step fusion, the memory will be shared. Uncle Goku has seen it once, so after the fusion with him, Dad has also seen it once. So that's it. Everyone was stunned. Even Son Goten turned out to be an afterthought, and only remembered it after hearing Trunks' explanation. It's just that they don't know that, in addition to Son Goku, there is also a Xiaofeng who has seen the transfiguration of Super Saiyan. Of course, this matter is actually meaningless. Not to mention the GT spacetime side, when Vegeta shuttled back to his own spacetime, he was dumbfounded for the first time. In the stratosphere of the Earth, two figures, one red and one purple, are fighting fiercely. Every time they collide, there will be an invisible energy that oscillates far away, causing the universe to collapse and the space to vibrate. But soon, the red figure gradually became a little weak, and was suppressed by the purple figure. You really want to fight seriously, but you can only stop here. The purple figure condescendingly said, your strength has already begun to decline. Damn it. The red figure was breathing heavily, sweating profusely. Is it impossible to defeat Lord Beerus if you become a Super Saiyan God? Why? Have you fully enjoyed the fun? It's been a long time since I used my power like this. The purple figure condensed a huge purple-black energy bomb in his hands, making a smashing action. Then, let's end it. I will destroy the Earth as agreed. Let's bear with the fate of the Earth. The purple-black energy bomb smashed down towards the red figure and the Earth behind him with an extremely exaggerated power. What's this? God-to-God war. Vegeta took a breath. This is your own time and space, right? Can anyone tell yourself what is going on in this scene? Could it be that he made a mistake again when he traveled through time and space? No. Absolutely. Vegeta sensed it carefully, and the rules of time and space told him that this was the time and space he was in. But, what the hell is Son Goku? Could it really pop out of the stone like Journey to the West? Perhaps, during the time I was away, something happened that I didn't know. Vegeta could only guess like this. However, my heart was so embarrassed. Was he wiped out just like this after leaving for more than a year? Sorry, Lord Beerus. The power of Super Saiyan God is telling me, I can still break through. Kamehameha wave. Son Goku, the Super Game God, struck out an attack that surprised Beerus, cancelling out the energy bomb he used to destroy the Earth. Although after this, Son Goku quit the Super Game God state because of exhaustion of energy. But because of this persistence and courage, he still won Beerus's appreciation, so he decided to let the Earth go. However, before Beerus pretended to beep and said a few closing remarks, another huge energy bomb came. Kamehameha wave. For the same Kamehameha, the energy intensity contained in it is completely different, and this time it is coming directly from Beerus. Beerus's complexion changed abruptly, and his full energy form burst out in an instant, and dark purple particle energy rose up all over him. With loud shouts, Beerus almost used the power of feeding, and he was able to take this ki blast with both hands. However, in the end, his hands were completely scorched and his arms couldn't help shaking, and he had a tendency to lose strength. Who? Get out of here. Beerus almost went violently, and his perception quickly spread from all directions. As long as he catches the breath of ki blast just now, he will surely destroy it in the first place. As for Son Goku, who retired from the Super Game God form, he was swept away at the moment that ki blast appeared. In the end, it was Whis who took the shot and protected him. Otherwise, if you fall from the stratosphere to the ground, even your bones will fall into powder. That's awesome. Beerus-sama still has such a strong power that he didn't use. Was he kidding me just now, right? Son Goku has completely crashed. Just now he played the final Kamehameha. He thought he was pretty good, and felt that if he was allowed to practice for a while, he would be able to defeat Beerus. But now he understands that Beerus hadn't really moved at all just now. Otherwise he might be able to defeat him with a single finger. It's just that, such a powerful Beerus, who can hurt him? And it seems that the attack is the Kamehameha wave he is most familiar with? What? Whis suddenly raised his brows, and an interesting expression appeared on his face. Interesting, he is back. Who? Son Goku looked blank. Whis glanced at him deeply, and finally said nothing. Angel represents neutrality, there is no justice and no evil. So on this matter, he will not make any comments. Son Goku was seen inexplicably, his intuition might be related to him, but he didn't have a clue even if he wanted to break his head. At this time, in the stratosphere, a red figure slowly appeared in front of Beerus. The reason why he is said to be red is only because he is covered with red body hair, his lower body is still wearing red pants, and a red tail is floating behind him. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, debut. Who are you? It was you who attacked me just now. Beerus didn't have the first attack, but his face was full of solemnity. He felt an extremely powerful pressure on the red monkey that appeared suddenly. Although this guy doesn't have the breath of God, his strength does not seem to be weaker than himself. Beerus has a heavy heart. When did the 7th universe come to this class of powerhouses? In case it is an object that needs to be destroyed, he is in trouble. Diddy. Combat strength. 1.5 Beijing. When Vegeta's invisible detector was detecting Beerus, it got such a data, which made him involuntarily cock the corners of his mouth. No breath of God. Certainly. If he is promoted to a god when he knows that he has no god status, he will be wanted by the gods, and Vegeta naturally can no longer use the god realm casually. So he stripped the power of the rules from the energy again, hiding it in the black lightning, which is the rules of fighting. Now he looks like a mortal on the surface, but the intensity of his breath has been compressed 50 times. And in the Super 4 form, his combat strength is 1.5 Jing. Although after stripping off the power of the rules, his energy will be slightly weaker than Beerus in terms of quality, but he still has the energy to the slightest, which is actually stronger than Beerus. It's been a long time, Beerus, but I always remember your kindness, and I came here to repay you today. Vegeta grinned. No matter whether Beerus was confused or not, he burst into golden flames and rushed over instantly. Huh, repay me? I think it's here to seek revenge. As the gods of destruction, Beerus naturally couldn't retreat. He also burst out with powerful energy. The dark purple particle energy pulsed around his body, and then he greeted him with a frontal punch. I don't know who you are, but it doesn't matter. You will tell me when I hit you on the ground. When Beerus punched him, his mouth did not relax. Sure enough. I still can't understand your attitude, Vegeta sneered. So I decided, this time I must repay your kindness. Boom. When the two fists collided, the world shook the whole world in an instant, and the entire space was shaking, and then numerous cracks appeared. Whis, who had returned to the ground, gently waved the scepter in his hand, and the entire earth was enveloped under his protection. After that, the scepter moved again, and a three-dimensional image was projected out of the battle center, Vegeta and Beerus. Kakarot. What's going on? Who is this person? Vegeta rushed over, pointing at Vegeta who was in a stalemate with Beerus and shouted loudly. If Vegeta has a leisurely look here, he will find that the scene here is almost the same as the gods and gods. The people Vegeta knew were all on a huge cruise ship, seeming to be celebrating something at a banquet. Moreover, the most outrageous thing is that there are Son Goku and Vegeta. I don't know, he appeared suddenly. Son Goku said with a blank face. Although it always feels familiar, I have never seen him. At this time, Piccolo, Klin, Bulma, Son Gohan and others also came over, all surrounded in front of the stereoscopic projection. One by one was shocked. Son Goku has become a Super Saiyan god, and is far from Beerus's opponent, but this person who appeared suddenly can stand in a stalemate with Beerus, which has to make people think more. Whis, don't you know what? Bulma came over with a plate of snacks please. The food of the earth is so delicious. After taking a sip, Whis smiled so that his eyes were bent into moonbuds. But even if he can break many principles for the sake of good food, he has a bottom line after all. So he just said to Bulma, there are some things I can't say clearly, but you will know soon. Boom. The two who had been in a stalemate suddenly let out Beerus's strength, and was hit by Vegeta with a fist in the face, and immediately flew out. What? Beerus was shocked. He has already used the full energy form, burst out with all his strength, and even lost in the head-on duel. Vegeta didn't care what he thought. When he was ill to kill him, his figure suddenly flashed and he chased him directly. I saw Vegeta bend a finger, and the target was Beerus's forehead. Are you kidding me? Who do you think I am, Beerus? Beerus instantly furious. However, what horrified him was that he had exploded all the energy belonging to gods of destruction, and even used the power of the rules, but still easily broke through the defense by that seemingly innocent finger. Boom. Vegeta's finger was centered on Beerus's eyebrows, and Beerus exploded at a faster speed. Hey, you bounced me, punched me, and you happened to be back this time. Vegeta chuckled, and pursued it again. Damn it. Beerus was so angry that he was already raging with anger at this time. But how can this be? His power was completely crushed by the opponent, even using Gods of Destruction energy was useless. Beerus, you pay for a report, because you didn't want to kill me at the beginning, and you have gained a lot from me, so I won't kill you. However, after banishing me for more than a year, I have to take it back. Interest. Before Beerus could not react, Vegeta stepped on his face and suppressed it all the way down. Beerus struggled to get rid of, but he was no opponent at all, and everything he did was in vain. And soon, he reacted from the meaning of Vegeta's words. Exiled for more than a year. Are you? Beerus's eyes widened in an instant. How can this be? This guy turned out to be Vegeta. Not to mention that Super 4 Vegeta's image is completely different from before, his aura is also different from before, and his strength is exaggerated and surpassed many times before. When Vegeta had perfect control of a body's power, his normal strength was only about 1 trillion, and his Super 3 form was 400 trillion. And now, 1.5 Jing, directly turned it nearly 4 times. Coupled with the energy of getting started, Beerus was directly beaten. The most important thing is that after falling into the cracks of time and space, he can actually come back. This is definitely something Beerus couldn't even think of. Boom. Beerus was trampled by Vegeta from the stratosphere, and fell all the way to the surface of the earth, smashing into the ground heavily. And Vegeta didn't leave, so he stepped on him all the way and crashed into the ground together. In a wilderness on the earth, a huge crater was directly knocked out by the two of them. A large amount of mud and rocks collapsed and flew up, turning up a flow of earth and rocks like ocean waves. This. What kind of battle is this? The Earth's Z warriors twitched frantically. The fighting power of the two sides is completely acting on the other side, and no aftermath has spread. But even with a slight knock like this kind of reaction appeared on the Earth. If it really bursts out, can the Milky Way still exist? Bang 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 bang. However, this is not over yet. After stepping Beerus into the ground, Vegeta kept hitting Beerus's body and face with punch after punch, making loud noises. The earth and rocks on the ground also constantly rolled up and flew like ocean waves, surging outward layer by layer. Had it not been for Whis to protect the earth with energy, the earth would have been shattered long ago. You give me enough. Beerus, who had been rubbing constantly on the ground, finally ran away, blasting a huge purple particle energy, evaporating the entire surrounding space. After all, his energy intensity is not weaker than that of Vegeta. Vegeta relied on his energy to get the most out of it. He caught Beerus by surprise, so that he could gain the upper hand in a short time. At this time, Beerus directly exploded all the energy, and the huge momentum also slammed Vegeta to a halt, even involuntarily backing away. Taking advantage of this moment, Beerus jumped up, got out of the ground, and returned to the sky again. After Vegeta stabilized his momentum, he hung slowly behind him and returned to the opposite side of Beerus, facing him. Asshole, you really dare to do it? Who do you think I am, Beerus? Beerus gasped and roared loudly. Vegeta hugged his arms and smiled. Didn't I say it? Just withdraw a little interest. You didn't see how polite you were when you hit me. The corner of Beerus's mouth twitched, and he couldn't spit out MMP. At the beginning? It was clear that you bastard took advantage at the beginning, okay? Although Vegeta was really crushed by Beerus, the successive small movements also stimulated Beerus a lot. He didn't have much power, but he was able to kick his face with a kick, and the continuous solar flare, Beerus is still fresh in his memory. On the luxury cruise ship, the Earth Z warrior, who has been watching through the screen projected by Whis, has gradually reacted at this time. They actually knew each other. And there has been a fight before, but the one who lost the last time was the Red Monkey. So this time, the Red Monkey has practiced even stronger and ran back for revenge. Awesome. I didn't expect that there are such powerful people in this world. I am still far behind them. Son Goku's eyes were full of fighting spirit. Even if he has lost a game, he will not be discouraged directly. He always believes that there is no opponent that he can't surpass. Damn it. Vegeta gritted his teeth, breaking his glass heart. With Vegeta's power that can only transform into a Super 2, it is too far from this level, and it is completely incomparable. No matter how hard it is, I am afraid that it will not catch up. Unless, he has also become the super game god like Son Goku just now, maybe there is still the possibility of upgrading. I always feel that this person is a bit familiar, but I just can't remember where I saw him. Bulma frowned, thinking hard. At this moment, in the corner, Son Gohan and Piccolo were getting together, with a sad look on their faces. Son Gohan smiled bitterly. Uncle Piccolo, do you think it's possible he's back? Piccolo is also completely different from usual at this time. His face is full of bewilderment. I said long ago that your method is not feasible. If he really comes back, how will it end? But, there was only that way I could think of at the time. Although Uncle Piccolo didn't agree, he didn't oppose it at the time. Son Gohan was a little nervous holding his hair. There is no way, if you get there, you can only tell the truth. Piccolo gritted his teeth and made a decision. Son Gohan shrank his neck, weakly said, that will be beaten to death. Although I don't know what you have gone through, I have to admit that you do have the strength to compete with me now. But, do you really think I am at this level? Beerus was just careless just now, and he didn't expect that Vegeta would be so strong. This will be caught off guard and be given the advantage by Vegeta, and then step by step will be suppressed step by step. But after all, he has also been gods of destruction for hundreds of millions of years, and he is also the strongest one in the 12 universe 12 gods of destruction. How could it be so? In that case, let's use strength to speak. The second round begins. Vegeta didn't want to fight him, and launched an offensive directly. Of course, he also knew that what Beerus was telling was the truth, at least half a step freely. Beerus hadn't used it yet. Boom boom boom. As soon as the two sides met, there was a fierce clash of fists and feet. Sure enough, although Vegeta's offensive was still fierce this time, after Beerus was prepared, it was much easier to deal with than at the beginning. And just as Vegeta thought, when he found out that he lost to Vegeta in terms of energy manipulation, he did not hesitate to urge half a step of his freedom. The subtle collision of energy and physical body will ultimately determine whose background is deeper. In this regard, Vegeta clearly fell short. Huh, I really thought you could beat me with just a little bit of energy. You're still a million years earlier. Beerus got the upper hand and immediately became proud. It's a pity that his self-consciousness itself is not proficient. When he was distracted, Vegeta immediately caught the gap and punched him in the face. Asshole. Beerus yelled, not daring to get distracted anymore. Boom boom boom. It was still a series of clashes of fists and feet, and the realm of the two of them had reached the boundary of the universe. In fact, the universe could be destroyed by hand. However, it is precisely because of being a master that all energy is compressed within a certain range, and the aftermath is not allowed to spread, in order to complete a more powerful attack. In this way, the destructive power caused by the two is not as good as the battle between Beerus and the Super Game God Son Goku just now. Is it self-conscious? Vegeta was also studying Beerus's routines as he attacked. It is a pity that he soon discovered that the routine of the extreme self-consciousness is completely the opposite of the subtle energy, and the two abilities are incompatible. If he wants to learn the extreme self-consciousness, he must give up the energy to the minute. Forget it. Since I first stepped into the threshold of energy microcosm, it proved that this is a more suitable direction for me. There is no need to abandon the ability that I already know in order to learn an ability of the same level. Vegeta quickly wanted to open it, and gave up on the study of the self-consciousness. The state of Shizizizz is really handsome, but so what? As long as his energy is further studied, he is not weaker than ZZ. Maybe there is a more handsome transformation? For example, Jiren burst clothes? Puff, pass it. Do you dare to be distracted when fighting with me? Beerus saw that Vegeta seemed to be thinking about something, and suddenly walked away. He immediately thought that the opportunity was coming, and immediately urged a big offensive, and broke the rules at the same time. The rule of destruction is not destruction, it just raises the quality of energy by several levels, far surpassing the 1.5 Jing that appears on the surface. Vegeta did not react for a moment, so he almost succeeded by Beerus. But because of this momentary distraction, he subconsciously noticed the threat, and the energy actually took the initiative to react. Boom. A burst of red light soared into the sky, and the golden flames that had been surrounded by Super 4 baguettes suddenly turned into red particle energy at this time. What? Beerus's eyes widened in an instant, almost sticking out. Under the impact of this sudden burst of energy, his attack instantly became invisible, and his body was also rolled back by the impact. Under the tumbling breath, Beerus was almost injured by the shock. It was hard to stabilize his figure, but there was a hell expression on his face. Super Saiyan God. On the luxury cruise ship, after seeing the transformation of Vegeta, almost everyone exclaimed. That's right, this is the Super Game God form Son Goku has become before. Because Vegeta stripped off his God energy and showed the same aura as an ordinary person, when he transformed into a Super Game God, he would turn to Super Red. Hiss. After seeing Vegeta's current image, almost all Earth Z fighters collectively took a breath. The previous Vegeta was able to compete with Beerus, and now he can transform into a super game god. What kind of terrifying realm will his strength rise to? Beerus also thought about this problem, with big cold sweat slipping on his forehead. Today, I originally came to the earth with a look of gaze, and I was also very willful in a scene where food was robbed and spilled to destroy the earth. But now, instead of taking Vegeta, he is about to be hanged. What about his old face? Will there be any face to come to earth in the future? Slot. Beerus couldn't help but explode. Wouldn't it be nice if you would leave unrestrainedly after defeating Son Goku? Why do you have to be so mean? You have to stay and pretend to beep and say a few words, just because Vegeta caught up. Of course he didn't know that Vegeta had arrived long ago, but he hadn't shown up. Even if he chose to leave at the time, he would still be stopped by Vegeta. Beerus, do you want to fight anymore? The Super Game God Super 4 Vegeta couldn't help but twitched when he saw Beerus's face full of cold sweat. In the Super 4 state, his combat power intensity is 75 Jing. This data frightened Vegeta himself. You know, there is a Super Blue one above the Super Red. Although he has not conducted research in this area, he knows that Super Blue is a Super Game transformation on the basis of Super Red, which is enough. As long as you take a little time to study, you can easily enter that state. And don't forget, this is just a normal version of the Super Saiyan transformation. What if you use God's energy to perform the Super Saiyan transformation? When the time comes, where should the combat effectiveness be improved? Vegeta feels that he is really Super God. With this combat power, where is the goal to be on Whis? You can do Grand Priest directly. Alright. It has to be said that the increase brought after this transformation made Vegeta couldn't help but swell. However, the fact is that he does have inflated capital. Haha, haha, that's right, there really is no need to fight again. At this time Beerus admitted. He was not an idiot, of course he sensed that Vegeta's power at this time was far superior to him. And he also knew that the Whis guy had done something extra to make a large group of people on Earth watch and fight. How could he look for abuse in Vegeta in full view? Therefore, Beerus was very shameless, with his hands behind him, looking up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. Your strength is very good, and it really impressed me. Although I didn't use 100% strength, your form is almost the same as mine, so this test ends here. Test? Vegeta didn't have a mouthful of ambergris to spit Beerus to death. The time has come, and if you don't forget to pretend to beep, are you afraid that you will just kill him if you don't save face? As soon as this thought came up, Beerus's voice rang from the bottom of Vegeta's heart. At any rate, I am also gods of destruction. Give me some face. At most, I promise that I will take more care of the earth in the future. If you have any request, as long as I can do it, I will try my best. Airborne sound transmission, or telepathy. This is actually a very rudimentary application of rules. If there is a higher dimension in the presence, the information can be easily intercepted. But of course you don't have to worry about this at this time. Beerus mainly wants to save his face. Vegeta sounded a little funny, but he really didn't intend to make Beerus' face bad. After all, his god status has not been resolved yet, so if he can't sin against God, he should try his best not to offend him. The most important thing is that Vegeta's plan to return to this time and space does not necessarily require Beerus, but he is also afraid that he will interfere. Forget it. As the saying goes, if you don't care about my previous offense, then I won't count the previous accounts with you. Vegeta also transmitted the voice back. This means that if the two battles take advantage of each, they will be evened. Of course, he saved face to Beerus this time, which is also a favor. Beerus people are old and fine, so they can understand the meaning of it, and he gave a look of calculate your acquaintance. Soon, Vegeta and Beerus came to Bulma's cruise ship together, and the atmosphere here seemed very strange. Everyone's expressions are different, such as Son Goku's full face of warfare, Vegeta's gritted teeth, Keelan, Tien Shinhan's admiration, and Fat Boo's shock and fear, and Whis' light smile. The only thing that makes Vegeta feel strange is that since he appeared, Bulma's eyes have been stuck on him, with inquiries. There is still a daze in the depths of his eyes. And Piccolo pulled Son Gohan, who cowered and didn't dare to step forward, which was also very strange. In the end, Vegeta turned his attention to Son Goku and Vegeta. Why did these two people appear in your own time and space? This is totally unscientific. You know, Son Goku and Vegeta have already combined the earrings, and then he passed through them and decomposed them into strengthening materials. Even if you use Dragon Ball, you can't resurrect it. Even Vegeta suspected that Super Shenron would not be able to retrieve Son Goku and Vegeta in this time and space. After all, they were not dead, but were broken down, and the energy had been digested by Vegeta. Who are you? The first person who spoke was Vegeta. He was not the kind of person who would keep words in his heart, so he shouted directly, "With a tail, you can become a Super Saiyan God. Who are you?" At this time, everyone moved their eyes, their attention was raised to the limit, and even their breathing stopped temporarily. Vegeta's strength made them look up, and naturally they were curious about his origins. At this time, Vegeta has withdrawn from the Super Game God transformation, but still maintains the Super 4 form. Because he remembers that Super 4 also has several realms, the initial stage that has just completed the transformation, the full energy form, and the beyond limit state. So he wanted to try to see if he could maintain the Super 4 form for a long time, like Super 1, after adapting to full power. Even if it doesn't work, it should be able to boost some energy more or less. Who am I? I don't need to explain to you. Facing Vegeta's question, Vegeta did not answer, but raised his eyebrows. It's you, I have to ask. Why are you here? What does Vegeta mean? What a joke. Vegeta exploded. This is my cruise ship. Do I need to report to you here? Who do you think you are? Your family? Vegeta's face suddenly became weird. When he first traversed, he was not used to his new identity, so it was difficult to accept this background setting. But after this time of tempering, he has integrated into the world of Dragon Ball, and he will naturally regard this time and space as his root. But now that he finally returned, he found that the facts were different from what he had imagined. This time and space seemed to have no place for him. So, where should he go in the future? Son Goku and Vegeta just came back today. Suddenly, Bulma interrupted in, and the two names Son Goku and Vegeta seemed to be a bit blunt. But what does she mean by this? No one knew it, so Vegeta didn't understand it very well either. What if they just came back today? With Son Goku and Vegeta, both families are complete, and there is no meaning for Vegeta to exist. Bulma continued. A year and a half ago, they died in the demon incident. Later, I heard that they were practicing in Supreme Kai. They only recently resurrected through Dragon Ball, so I organized this party for them. Only then did Vegeta realize that this was not the birthday party of Bulma in the original book, but to celebrate the return of Son Goku and Vegeta. So the question is, how did they come back to life? Bulma. What did you tell him about this? Vegeta frowned and was full of discomfort. The question now is to figure out the identity of this guy. What does he have to do with Saiyan? Shut up, there is no place for you to speak. I didn't know that Bulma suddenly yelled at him, which stunned everyone around him. Anyway, not long ago, Vegeta ran away because she was slapped in the slap by Beerus. Now Bulma treats him like this. What? Vegeta also couldn't believe it. Son Goku, who usually bluffs, seems unusually quiet at this time. He grabbed Vegeta and said, Vegeta, you'd better be quiet for a while, and listen to Bulma to finish. Why are you? Vegeta subconsciously wanted to resist, but found that Son Goku's expression was a bit wrong, and suddenly fell silent. It's just that Vegeta didn't find any problems, only thought that today's incident was a bit weird. Vegeta is actually even more strange, because Bulma doesn't care about Vegeta at all, and calls the name Son Goku directly. Didn't she change her name to Son Jun after Son Goku got married? Judging from Bulma's attitude, Vegeta can only doubt that Son Goku and Vegeta are fakes. But Ren Beijing looked sideways, left and right, and found nothing suspicious. I don't know how to say it, or it's a woman's instinct. Bulma stared at Vegeta tightly. I feel the kindness from you, but I only distance ourselves from them. Asterisk. Bulma. Do you know what you were talking about? Vegeta's eyes were almost red. Whether it's his self-esteem or his importance to his family, when Bulma said something like this, Vegeta was going to run away in an instant. It's just that Son Goku is holding him tightly. Vegeta, don't be impulsive. You let me go. Vegeta struggled for a long time, but his strength was not as strong as Son Goku. However, Bulma didn't care about Vegeta's reaction, she didn't even look at it, her eyes were on Vegeta from start to finish. Actually, I thought it was weird at the beginning. It was just that I haven't seen Vegeta in just over a year. I have become quite unfamiliar with Vegeta, and I always feel awkward when facing him. Until I see you, that kind of intimacy, I feel it from you. So, he is not Vegeta at all, my Vegeta is you. Bulma looked at Vegeta with determination in her eyes, she trusted her instincts. At this celebration banquet, almost everyone came, naturally including Son Goku's wife Chi-Chi. In fact, before Bulma said this, she felt the same way. But she thinks that she hasn't seen each other for a long time, and it's just a little stranger. After all, she is different from Bulma. Son Goku has been dead since the cyborg period. Although the Buu incident was resurrected again, he joined the battle as soon as he was resurrected, and then died. During this period, Chi-Chi had no chance to contact Son Goku at all. In other words, in Chi-Chi's world, Son Goku has disappeared for nearly 9 years. And now, after listening to Bulma's words, she can also be sure that the Son Goku in front of her is not her husband at all. What made her confused was that she also sensed the kindness from Vegeta. Is it possible that Son Goku and Vegeta can be the same person? It's hilarious. Ah. I'm going to kill you. Absolutely. Vegeta exploded completely, and instantly entered the runaway Super 2 mode. Even Son Goku couldn't control it. He dashed forward and rushed in front of Vegeta, his fists already smashed. No. Bulma and Chi-Chi screamed subconsciously, and even Son Gohan was about to rush out. Result, boom. Vegeta, the Super Second in the runaway mode, was knocked down by Vegeta, and then stepped on it. No matter how Vegeta struggles, he can't get out of control. Vegeta's eyes swept across everyone. He looked at Whis. Vegeta believed that with Whis' ability, he would be able to easily learn the truth of everything. But looking at Whis' face indulging in the food on the earth, he didn't pay any attention to the chaos that happened before him. Vegeta could only give up. Angel has no position, neither justice nor evil, let alone the housework of the Earthlings, and he doesn't care about it. Finally, he looked at Piccolo, who was hesitant, and Son Gohan, who was ashamed. You guys did this thing. Did you come out and explain it? Vegeta couldn't hear their voices, but from the expressions of these two, it was already very clear. Whether it's a bewildered, confused person, or a person burning with a raging gossip, they all looked at Piccolo and Son Gohan at this moment. Piccolo's green face turned red in an instant. Then, he pushed Son Gohan forward and squinted back 2 steps. Ahaha. Son Gohan scratched his head and smiled, opened his mouth, but finally looked up at the horizon. The weather is pretty good today. Don't change the subject. Everyone around condemned in unison. Chi-Chi even rushed over and picked up Son Gohan's ear. Say, what's the matter? Gohan. This time. Son Goku just started talking, but he stopped talking, and then said, frankly explain, make things clear. Regarding me, Vegeta's. There is someone who has a vaguely breath of me in Vegeta. What? Vegeta, who was stepped on her feet, widened, and then roared, Kakarot, you said this guy has our breath. What do you mean? Son Goku glanced at Vegeta with a complex expression inside. Perhaps because I became Super Saiyan God before, I have a more sensitive sense of breath. In him, I can vaguely sense the breath of the two of us. If I guessed correctly, his name should be Vegeta. As soon as the 3 words of Vegeta came out, many people didn't feel it, because they had not seen it, or even heard the name. But Vegeta's heart suddenly missed a beat, his head buzzed, and his face was instantly pale. That's it. That's how it is. Vegeta stopped struggling, lying on the ground looking up at the sky, but burst into tears. Kakarot, have you guessed it a long time ago? Son Goku slumped his head. In fact, from the beginning, I felt something was wrong. I always felt that everything was illusory, but I was not sure. But when Bulma said that, I gradually figured it out. Just a substitute. Yes, alternatives. Vegeta disappeared in this time and space, and even Whis said he couldn't find it. Beerus and Whis can be regarded as people without Vegeta, even Supreme Kai, except people on Earth. So, how should this matter be resolved? God Jebet threw this question to the Earth God Dend, and slipped away first. Dend can only find Piccolo and Son Gohan to find a way. In the end, their solution was to find alternatives. What else can I do? Do you tell Bulma and Chi-Chi that Son Goku and Vegeta are gone, and Shenron can't be resurrected? They will go crazy. Son Gohan. Vegeta roared. Everyone's focus was once again on Son Gohan. Son Gohan's forehead was covered with cold sweat, but this time he could no longer escape, so he could only tell the truth. When the demon incident happened, we were all dead. But Dad and Uncle Vegeta were resurrected in the end. Hope can only be placed on them. However, with their strength at the time, it was not enough to beat Majin Buu, and finally chose to use Supreme Kai's Potala earrings for the combination, just like Gotenks. The difference is that after the Potala earrings are combined, there is no time restrictions, and can never be lifted. What? Except for a few who knew, everyone else was stunned. So, Bulma and Chi-Chi looked at Vegeta stupidly, not knowing what to do. Say the point. Vegeta growled again. Even if he vaguely guessed the truth, he still couldn't accept this kind of thing. And even if he is a substitute, what supernatural power does Son Gohan use to make him look exactly like him? Make a wish by Shenron. Do not make jokes, asterisk. The power of Son Goku and Vegeta has far surpassed the boundaries of Shenron. It is impossible to create Son Goku and Vegeta from scratch by relying on Shenron's ability alone. Son Gohan did experiment, and Shenron couldn't achieve this wish. Otherwise, every time there is a crisis on the Earth, As long as Shenron is asked to get an ultimate soldier out, the problem will not be solved. Why let them be born to death every time? However, although Shenron cannot be made from scratch, it can be cultivated again through cells. In more common terms, it is clone. That's right, Son Goku and Vegeta appearing here are clones. With Shenron's ability, he can find the cells they had previously lost in the heavens and the earth for resurrection and cultivation, and they can also be used for memory inheritance. They inherited the original memories of Son Goku and Vegeta, from birth to the birth of Vegeta. When the clones of Son Goku and Vegeta came back to life, they didn't know the truth at all, and they took themselves for granted. As for the memory after being combined into Vegeta, it is considered to be lost after death. In the words of Son Gohan, they were too strong after being combined, so their personality was as arrogant as Gotenks, but Majin Buu seized the opportunity and both died together. Son Goku and Vegeta may have doubts, but in the end they believed the statement. In addition, although Shenron cloned them and gave them the unlimited potential of Saiyan, they could not improve their strength to the peak after all. So Son Gohan used another argument. Son Goku and Vegeta are too strong. After Shenron's resurrection, the physical strength cannot be increased to the peak, and can only return to the state of ordinary people. Therefore, for more than a year, Son Goku and Vegeta have actually been restoring their strength. With memory inheritance, there is the original state. It is not easy to retrain the strength to the peak, but it is not too difficult. After using the Spirit and Time House several times, Son Goku returned to the Super 3 state, and Vegeta also cultivated to the Super 2 limit. It's also because they've been in a state of cultivation and didn't think much about it, otherwise they would have discovered something wrong with their wisdom. I just didn't expect that when I just came back from practicing, I learned that everything was fake. For Son Goku and Vegeta, this is tantamount to a bolt from the blue, and even more unacceptable. What a joke. What a joke. Vegeta looked up to the sky and roared, and the power to run away from Super completely exploded, and dense electric lights appeared on his body. At this moment, his energy is greatly enhanced, catching up with Son Goku's Super 3 state, which is almost the same as the Trunks limit of the future time and space. Vegeta silently removed his foot from him. At this time he had no idea what to say. Replaced by himself, he was suddenly given such a setting, and he completely accepted that he couldn't. Therefore, it is absolutely reasonable to ban the cloning of this technology internationally in the previous life. It's just that, anyway, now that the matter has been exposed, it is no longer a question of whether Vegeta is willing to withdraw. But both sides have grievances. It is impossible to accept such Son Goku and Vegeta, and they will not accept this identity that does not belong to them. So how do you deal with their existence? Really, this kind of thing. Even the optimistic Son Goku was rubbing his temples with a tangled face. A group of people around are dumbfounded, their minds are knotted, and they don't even have any ideas. How can there be a solution? Humans, really weird creatures. Beerus snorted silently while drinking his drink. It's just that it doesn't matter to him, and he hangs up high, he is purely watching the excitement. Son Gohan. In the end, everyone still had their eyes on Son Gohan, including Bulma and Chi-Chi, all with a horrible expression of choosing people. Originally, even if Son Goku and Vegeta merge into Vegeta, they can no longer dissolve the merged state. They can still find a way, or take time to eliminate psychological grievances, and slowly accept. Even if Vegeta disappeared, they could wait, with vague expectations in their hearts, hoping that he could return one day. However, Son Gohan actually did such a drama, and made the already bad situation even more chaotic. Scissors continue to be sorted and messed up. This situation is enough to make an ordinary person collapse. Guru. Son Gohan was so scared that he swallowed wildly, and quickly explained, "Wait a minute, I have something to say." He was afraid that he would be divided by everyone if he was one step later. Didn't you see Vegeta's eyes were red, staring at him? It seemed that the next moment, all the rising power would be poured out on him. What else is there to say? This kind of thing, totally unacceptable. Vegeta roared angrily, energy gushing out. The powerful aura swept away, and those who were far less powerful than him were shocked by this aura, and they were about to be swept away. Boom. At this time, Son Goku also exploded, and he entered Super Second in an instant, and then continued to gather strength and was undergoing Super Third transformation. The explosion of 2 breaths made these Earthlings even more overwhelmed. Fortunately, at a crucial moment, Vegeta made a shot. When he waved, the people who had been unsteady on their feet were stabilized, and they could no longer feel the momentum of the two of them soaring into the sky. Then, under the protection of Vegeta, they were sent away from Son Goku and Vegeta. Vegeta, calm down. Son Goku completed his Super 3 transformation, but he tried to stop Vegeta. But obviously, his own heart is also in confusion, otherwise he would not ignore the transformation and almost affected others. Calm down. What a joke. At this time, who else can calm down except you? Also, don't call me Vegeta anymore, I'm just a clone, a clone. Vegeta roared up to the sky, and the powerful aura spread out layer by layer. Son Goku saw that he could no longer think, and immediately rushed to suppress Vegeta by force. It's a pity that even if he has become a Super 3 form, the limit of runaway is Super 2 Vegeta, and his power is not weaker. Without warning, a battle broke out between the two of them. They hit the sea directly from the cruise ship, and from the sea to high in the sky, with violent detonations constantly sounding around. They are just venting. Vegeta sighed lightly and looked at Son Gohan. There is nothing left to say it all at once, otherwise I won't be able to save you. I don't know what kind of brain circuit Son Gohan is, and he can do this kind of thing. Also, Piccolo doesn't seem to stop it, right? So he also has part of the responsibility. Son Gohan shrank his neck and said weakly, actually, the original setting is that they will temporarily replace you during your absence, but as long as you come back, they will disappear. Huh. Everyone looked in the direction of the war, and the two figures turned into a semi-transparent state. During the fierce battle, Son Goku and Vegeta also noticed the changes in their bodies, so naturally they couldn't continue the fight. They stopped in the air, looking at their bodies, their faces blank. What the hell is this? After being cloned, passing on the memory, and practicing hard for more than a year, in the end I can't get anything, so is it just wiped out? Not to mention that Vegeta can't accept it, even Son Goku, who is open-minded, can't accept this kind of thing. But what can they do? They can't resist at all with their abilities. Vegeta looked at them with a thoughtful expression on his face. Still the power of rules. The so-called setting is actually to deploy the power of rules in their bodies in advance, and once the conditions are met, they will be activated. They were originally born out of Shenron's abilities, so Shenron wanted to make them disappear. Even if they were capable of reaching the sky, they would also disappear. The body is the foundation, and the strength is the floor. The foundation lies with Shenron. As long as Shenron removes the foundation, what is the use of building a higher floor? Disintegrated in an instant. Unless, after the birth of Son Goku and Vegeta, they can get rid of Shenron monitoring, learn the power of the rules without the other's knowledge, and erase the time bomb in the body. Huh. With a wave of Vegeta's hand, Son Goku and Vegeta flew back uncontrollably and returned to the cruise ship. Immediately afterwards, under everyone's surprised gaze, they didn't know what Vegeta had done. The two people who were already nearly transparent and about to disappear completely gradually filled their bodies and became entities again. What? Not only the people of the earth were surprised, even Beerus was surprised to stand up. Even Whis couldn't help but raise his brow slightly. The power of rules. Beerus looked at Whis and couldn't calm down and said loudly, Whis, this is the power of rules, right? Why can a mere mortal reverse the rules so easily? This kind of thing, even he can't do it. It's not that Beerus doesn't know how to use rules, but that he is only good at destroying. The creative aspect is Supreme Kai's job. And this kind of thing that touches the origin of the rules can only be done by gods above angel. Whis was of course surprised, but he could see a lot of things that even Beerus couldn't see. There are just some things he can't say clearly, so he just reminded, Master Beerus, don't forget, Mr. Vegeta can become a Super Saiyan god. That's right. Maybe Saiyan is indeed unique in terms of cultivation. Beerus had to admit that in terms of talent and potential, even he was inferior to Saiyan. Therefore, it is likely that Vegeta has realized some ability that he does not know. On the other side, Vegeta and Son Goku were also stunned. The body is full again, and it seems that there is something more than before. There is a feeling between the two of them. They used to be like rootless duckweed. Although they are in this world, they always feel incompatible. When they know the truth, they will understand, because in the original setting, they are substitutes, no different from robots and real dolls. So this world would never admit that they were creatures, and naturally they would not be able to integrate into this world. But now, this feeling has disappeared. As Vegeta waved his hand, the feeling disappeared after their illusory bodies were refilled. In other words, has Vegeta helped them enter their homes in this world? Why? Vegeta has returned to normal, her expression has calmed down, and it is still the same as it used to be. He didn't know how Vegeta did it, and he didn't care about such things. He just wanted to know why Vegeta would help him. Isn't it better for Vegeta to let him disappear directly? I also want to know about this problem. Son Goku also expressed doubts. Others are equally strange. For them, the cloned Son Goku and Vegeta are not real people at all. After they disappear, things are not that complicated. Vegeta glanced at the people, and finally, he turned his gaze to Son Gohan, and slowly said, "Perhaps, no one has ever taught you how to be a human being, and this has allowed you to do such outrageous things as you are today. Human feelings, nothing can replace it, even if it is exactly the same copy. You made a wish to Shenron to breed 2 clones. This is a mistake in itself. You concealed both parties, let them contact each other without knowing the truth, and mistakenly treat each other as relatives. This is a mistake plus a mistake. But what you did the most wrong is that clones are also humans, and they also have their own thoughts. Since you got them out, you have to be responsible to the end. To put it ugly, you were their father. As a result, you just let them disappear. Have you ever thought about how they felt? Have you ever thought that they did nothing wrong, were born in your hands, but were strangled by your own hands, just to satisfy your personal desires?" Vegeta's words were straightforward and thought-provoking. He was ashamed of Son Gohan, and kept his head down and annoyed. Saying Son Goku and Vegeta dumbfoundedly, they felt deeply in the same way. I also stunned everyone around me, and began to ponder the truth in these words. Well said. Suddenly there was a loud cry, but Master Roshi walked over with his cane. I didn't expect that Goku and Vegeta would understand this principle. But after all, Gohan is also Goku's child. Gohan did something wrong, and Goku has to bear it. Responsible. Master Roshi frowned when he heard the truth from the beginning, but he didn't have much sense of existence in this era, and the right to speak was not important. So when it is not necessary, he will not speak easily. Now that Vegeta's words came directly to his heart, Master Roshi finally couldn't help but stand up. That's right. Son Goku subconsciously checked his seat, scratched his head and said, "But Chi-Chi has always been in charge of these things." Only halfway through, he was stunned again, because he suddenly remembered that those memories did not belong to him. Oh. Vegeta sighed softly and stretched out his hand again, covering Son Goku and Vegeta's heads. The power of the rules surged, and the memories of Son Goku and Vegeta suddenly appeared empty. This is. The two were taken aback. I have retained your basic knowledge and some common sense things, but I have stripped away the memory of Son Goku and Vegeta. Vegeta knew that the existence of the two was awkward for everyone, so he simply stripped their memories and made them new people. Now they just carry Son Goku and Vegeta skins, but they are completely different people. Beerus, from today on, let them stay in the Gods of Destruction world. You promise me. Vegeta blinked at Beerus, in exchange for his favor. In this time and space, the real Son Goku and Vegeta have completely disappeared. Although there is more Vegeta now, Vegeta has the rules of time and space, and he is not sure when he will no longer be in this time and space. The Son Goku and Vegeta that keep the clones are actually a good thing. Once something happens in time and space, and Vegeta happens to be absent, they can use their power. In addition, Vegeta's strength has far surpassed Beerus at this time, like the 6th universe in the Tournament of Power. What will it look like when he goes to participate? Leave it to these two clones. Because the real Son Goku and Vegeta disappeared, Vegeta greatly surrendered these two names to the two clones, but added a suffix Jr. Son Goku Jr., Vegeta Jr. Well, this is also a bad taste of Vegeta. Son Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. have lost their original life memories. Except for their character and strength, they are actually two blank sheets of paper. Beerus was unwilling to let these two people go to Gods of Destruction at first, but then Beget told him that with these two powerful assistants, Gods of Destruction can be done by them at that time. Beerus could slack off himself. Beerus thought it made sense, but finally agreed. But I want to make a solemn statement. I just think that they have good talents and can be made. This is why I agree that they are my god servants. It is definitely not for laziness. Before leaving, Beerus not only had a lot of delicious dishes from the earth, but also left such a sentence. In fact, who can't tell, this is clearly 300 taels without silver here. Of course, the matter is not over yet, the problem of human cloning is solved, but Vegeta's own remains. Ah, Piccolo, you haven't said anything yet. Vegeta found a topic very bluntly. Piccolo turned his head away. We at Namek don't understand emotions. I can't understand what you said. He has already figured out his problem. Originally, Namek people are not divided into men and women at all, and they all spat themselves when they have children. Once a situation arises, there will be divisions, unions, and so on. So to him, cloning is nothing at all, and naturally he didn't find a reason to stop Son Gohan. And Son Goku is Gohan's family after all. Gohan finally decided to do that. What reason does Piccolo have to stop? However, Vegeta rolled his eyes, secretly thinking of MMP in his heart. I usually see Piccolo's EQ quite high. Why is it suddenly stupid at this time? Do you want to discuss this issue with him? Alright. As Piccolo himself said, He didn't understand feelings at all, and he really blinded Vegeta's mind. You are called Vegeta right now. Bulma reacted instantly and stared at Vegeta. I don't care about the others. Now I just want to ask you, my Vegeta is gone. What's going on? Solve. And my son Goku. Chi-Chi also came over. I didn't know it before, but now that I know that you are a combination of the two of them, shouldn't you give me an explanation? Other people actually have gossip fire burning in their hearts, but at this time, even if they were curious, they didn't stay untimely, and each found a reason to slip away. Of course, it also includes Gohan, Goten, Trunks and others. If you want to know how the problem was solved in the end, you can learn about it later, and leave the space to them for now. Vegeta has a headache. Real. He had thought about this scene ever since he had just crossed over, but he never knew how to deal with it. Unexpectedly, things went around in a circle and returned to the original point. After all, this barrier could not be avoided. Is there any way to separate you again? Bulma made a suggestion. For example, make a wish to Shenron? Chi-Chi's eyes lit up for an instant, and he looked at Vegeta with expectation. In fact, if Vegeta is still the original Vegeta, it is possible in all likelihood. After all, God Jebet was dismantled through Shenron of Namek. Although his strength is not a big deal, compared to Namek's Shenron, he clearly transcends the boundaries. He can disintegrate. Why can't Vegeta? Unfortunately, Vegeta is different now. He is a traverser and has an independent personality. The most important thing is that Son Goku and Vegeta have been disassembled, and they can't be found if they want to, at least with Shenron's ability. 10,000 steps back, even if there is a way to disintegrate, Vegeta can't do it. Doesn't this become self-sacrificing? He is not so great. After pondering for a long while, Vegeta spoke up after all. You don't have to hold any fluke, you will only have Vegeta in the future. Chi-Chi shook his feet and almost fainted. Such an answer is too cruel to her. It was originally lost and recovered, but now, when hope has just come, it has directly turned into despair. Bulma is much stronger. She bit her lip and said, So, do you want me to treat them all as dead? Or do you mean that you will replace them in the future? This question is not easy to answer. This is a two-choice question that must be wrong. Of course, Vegeta can't answer it directly. He can only say with a serious face, I can't control what you think, but I'm just me, neither Son Goku nor Vegeta. It's pure, baguette. Of course, since I am their combined fighter, I will bear whatever I can bear in their family. If you have any needs, I will try my best to satisfy them, and you will all be my relatives in the future. In fact, Vegeta had already figured it out when he spoke. Since he can't escape, face it positively. How could the life of a traverser be constrained by ordinary women on two Earths? Bulma and Chi-Chi didn't expect that Vegeta would say such a thing, and it was really unacceptable for a while. Vegeta mentioned only relatives, but they lost their husbands. Can this be the same? Go back and think about it. Don't rush to conclusions. I will look for you again later. Vegeta finished speaking briefly and left immediately. He just gave the two girls a vaccination first, so that they would stop holding a fluke mentality and hope that Son Goku and Vegeta can return again. As long as they accept this fact, the other things won't matter. At that time, whether it's relatives, friends, or whatever, it will always be a solution. Of course, since the lives of Son Goku and Vegeta have been changed, Vegeta will definitely bear their responsibilities, and they will definitely do better with these two. Gods of Destruction, the Star of Beerus. High above the sky, the three figures are fighting fiercely. Son Goku plus Vegeta's Whis. Son Goku and Vegeta are both normal. The two have already exploded with all their strength, and they even used their strength to feed themselves. However, Whis was carrying his hands behind his back, his body moved slightly, and easily avoided all attacks. I hide. At this moment, Whis' figure flashed and appeared in the distance. Unfortunately, Son Goku and Vegeta, who were hitting a full blow at the same time, ran into each other directly. Wow. It hurts me. Son Goku Jr., where were you aiming just now? Vegetager, can you blame me for this? Son Goku Jr., you give me back. Vegeta abandons Son Goku and rushes towards Whis alone. As a result, after Whis flashed lightly, he grabbed Vegeta's foot and threw it directly below. Son Goku's expression became more serious, and then he launched an offensive, but he persisted for a while longer than Vegeta, and finally was caught by Whis' neck. Afterwards, Vegeta rushed over again, and the two still joined forces against the enemy. Before long, both Son Goku and Vegeta were thrown into the air by Whis, and they were panting and exhausted. That's not okay, the speed of the two can't keep up at all. Whis fell from the air and stood in front of them, holding a pen in his hand. Look, I have time to write an autograph. When was it written? Cut. Only then did Son Goku and Vegeta realize that they each had a word on their chests. You two always think before acting, especially Mr. Vegetager. Your tendency is obvious. Moreover, it takes time for the nerves to be conveyed to the body through the brain and 5 senses. Whis was explaining the key to self-consciousness with Son Goku and Vegeta. Suddenly, there was a flower in front of him, and a figure suddenly appeared. Yo, Whis. And Son Goku Jr., Vegeta Jr., hello. It was Vegeta who came here directly through instant transmission. Ah, it's Vegeta. When Son Goku saw Vegeta, his eyes lighted up and his fighting spirit soared. Cut. Vegeta still has a cool expression, but his face is also full of warfare. What a surprise, Mr. Vegeta was able to perform instant transmission through the power of the rules, and he found the Beerus star himself. You really make me admire you, Whis chuckled. That's what I said, but there was a calm expression on his face. It seems that he has already known about Vegeta's strength, which is not surprising. Of course, Vegeta ignored Son Goku and Vegeta. Instead, he looked at Whis and said, Mr. Whis has passed the prize. You are the one who is truly hiding it, right? Oh ha ha. Whis covered his mouth and chuckled, without admitting or denying, but instead said, actually, I guessed Mr. Vegeta would come, but I didn't expect you to come so soon. When Vegeta heard the words, he couldn't help but smile a little bitterly. It has been 3 days since Beerus and the others left the Earth. Originally, Vegeta wanted to come with him at the time, but he spent a lot of thoughts on handling the affairs of the two families, and it has been delayed until now. Of course, the problem was solved perfectly in the end. People on Earth have accepted the fact that Son Goku and Vegeta cannot return, and naturally they have accepted Vegeta's existence. For them, although a little awkward, Vegeta is obviously more reliable than Son Goku and Vegeta, and can be called the Optimus Prime and the protector of the Earth. With him, everyone can do their own thing with peace of mind. Except that I miss Son Goku and Vegeta occasionally, nothing else. Then there are the 3 Saiyan descendants of Son Gohan, Son Goten, and Trunks. Of course, it is impossible for Vegeta to call them dad, just let them call their own names. However, Vegeta still exists as their elder after all. As for Bulma and Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi was arranged to go to the western capital to enjoy the blessing, and temporarily became neighbors with Bulma, and did not live together, so as not to be embarrassed. It was Bulma's performance that surprised Vegeta. Unexpectedly, she looked very open, as if she had completely accepted Vegeta, and also vaguely showed a sense of intimacy. Vegeta had to doubt that perhaps Bulma had an affection for Son Goku. Now that Vegeta and Son Goku are combined, Vegeta and Son Goku are simply the perfect object in Bulma's heart. So it's quite natural that this woman is so fond of herself? Real. Even if he hadn't practiced before, Vegeta was sure that he would be able to push Bulma if he took the initiative a little bit. But in the end, Vegeta still failed to carry out this great task. It was not a question of willingness or unwillingness. After all, some time should be set aside for the two parties to adapt to the current relationship. These messy things flashed through Vegeta's mind, and then he looked at Whis and said, Mr. Whis, I am here this time mainly to discuss with you and prove my own strength. Talk to Whis? Son Goku and Vegeta's eyes lit up immediately. They have all learned from Whis that Vegeta is in the Super Saiyan 4 transformation state, and on the basis of the Super Saiyan 4, he can also perform the Super Game God transformation. The peak strength is far stronger than Beerus. So, if Vegeta fights Whis, who is strong and who is weak? What is the gap? Unfortunately, Whis refused. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Ah. Why do you say that? Son Goku made a puzzled voice for the first time. Didn't Whis be fighting me and Vegeta Jr. just now? Whis covered his mouth and smiled. That's just a guide to practice. If it's only this level, it doesn't matter. The implication is that Son Goku and Vegeta are too weak, and Whis doesn't have to go into combat at all. In fact, Vegeta, who has read the original book, certainly knows this setting. It is said that Angel will be destroyed once he fights with all his strength. As for how to eliminate it, the original book didn't mention it. But I think it should be related to the Grand Priest, not just disappearing. Mr. Whis doesn't need to rush to refuse. Since Vegeta knew this setting, how could he be so reckless? He smiled and explained. I am currently studying an ability, and I need to have enough pressure. Among the people I know, only Mr. Whis currently has this ability. Oh? Whis seemed to have thought of something. Is it non-phase free work? No phase free work. Vegeta was taken aback for a while, and then reacted. The subtle physical body is called Ultra Instinct, and the subtle energy is called the non-phase free work. What is incomprehensibility? Son Goku and Vegeta both stared with curiosity. I knew it was a very high-end thing when I heard it, and they must also be interested. Whis explained. I have just said that you two always think first and then act in battle. It takes time for your nerves to be communicated to your body through your brain and 5 senses. So the best way is to make your body separate, just make your own judgment and then act. Being able to separate the body from the consciousness, allowing each part of oneself to transcend instinct to perceive the dangers around it, without the need for the brain to think first and then act. We call this state of self-extreme intention. He looked at Son Goku and Vegeta, and said, the fighting style of both of you is biased towards the body, so this kind of trick is suitable for you. If you can complete this practice, your strength will be improved to a very high level. After explaining Zizai Ji, Whis continued, while Wuxiang Zizai Gong is the same realm as Zizai Ji, but completely opposite to the fighting method. It separates energy from consciousness, allowing its own energy to actively perceive the dangers around it, and also without brain thinking, it can adjust energy in a state that transcends instinct. This method is called phaseless free work. In fact, Vegeta's understanding of energy into the microscopic, that is, the free form of freeness, has just started, and it is still a bit early to say that the half-step free form of freeness, so he doesn't know much about this ability. Listening to Whis' language description at this time, I have gained something more or less. Of course, if you want to go further, you also need to conduct actual combat. So, if someone practices Ultra Instinct and Wuxiang Freedom at the same time, wouldn't it be invincible in the world? Son Goku's eyes gleamed. Zizai is committed to fighting by physical instinct, while Wuxiangza is relying on energy instinct to fight. If the two abilities are combined, there will be almost no weakness. As long as it is not someone who has a realm far beyond him and can forcefully break his skills by force, then he will be invincible in the world. Whis nodded, shook his head, and said, Mr. Son Goku Jr. is right. If you can really cultivate both abilities to the extreme, it is indeed possible to be invincible in the world. But it is very difficult to achieve this. It is difficult, even impossible. Ah. Why? Son Goku Jr. scratched his head. Vegeta hugs his arms and said, idiot, you can understand this kind of thing by simply thinking about it. Why do you still have to ask? Zizai just separates the body from the consciousness and fights by the instinct of the body, but it is not completely without consciousness. It's just changing from a primary position to a secondary position, and guiding the body's instincts through consciousness. The same is true of the non-phase free work. This technique is already very high-end and requires a lot of energy. How can it be possible to perform the non-phase free work at the same time as the free self-consciousness? Can you watch it? Do you still look at the right while on the left? Ah? Is that so? Son Goku scratched his head. In fact, he didn't understand the previous explanation at all, but he understood the last sentence in seconds. Whis nodded and said, that's it. Regardless of the cultivation of the physical body or the cultivation of energy, you need to be fully focused when you reach the limit. Once you are distracted, you will withdraw from that state, so it is impossible to separate the mind. The most important thing is to choose a path that suits you and maximize it. This is the right way. If you can't chew too much, if you learn both, it's likely that you won't learn the last two. Okay, I see. Son Goku was a little discouraged. For him, of course, the more he can learn, the better. Although his memories of Son Goku have been erased, his personality is still the same as Son Goku. Vegeta has been listening quietly by the side, but at this moment he suddenly interrupted. Then Mr. Whis, are you practicing the ultimate in freedom or incomprehension? The original book does not mention incomprehensibility, but Vegeta believes that Whis will definitely do it. Sure enough, when Whis heard this question, he immediately smiled. I have practiced, but I can't use it at the same time. I can only use one ability at a time. Really? Vegeta knew it. Huh? Son Goku was puzzled. Who's didn't just say that it's better to choose only one path? How come it is different when you get to yourself? Whis chuckled, after all, Angel's life is very long. I have a lot of time to practice. Huh? It's really unfair. Son Goku suddenly became mentally unbalanced. When it comes to this, it's almost the case, and Vegeta once again mentioned the matter of letting Whis help with the practice. If it's just to help you cultivate, it's okay. This time Whis did not refuse, he said, but I suggest you return to normal first. The energy of Super Saiyan IV is too large and it will increase the difficulty of your cultivation. Moreover, let me help you with the cultivation. You need to get the food from the earth. Come to exchange. The last sentence is the point. After all, the cuisine of the earth is so tempting, Whis can't hold it at all. I'm ready for you early. Vegeta knew that this would be the case, and he brought a refrigerator directly over and put it in a convenient capsule, enough for Whis and Beerus for a few months. Oh, it's still Mr. Vegeta's generous. When Whis saw the refrigerator in the convenience capsule, his eyes suddenly narrowed into a moonbud with a smile. Before long, Everything was ready, and Vegeta and Whis faced each other at a distance. Vegeta's face is a little dignified, relying on normal combat power to display imperfect abilities. There is definitely no chance of winning against Whis, so he needs to be careful so as not to be beaten as a dog by accident. Well, with Whis' personality, he probably wouldn't do this, but Vegeta can't let his guard down because of this. Compared with Vegeta, Whis is of course much more relaxed, even in his heart still recalling some of the earth snacks that he ate secretly just now. By the way, this is the first time I have seen Vegeta's normal state. I didn't expect that the aura is still amazingly strong. Son Goku, a melon-eating crowd not far away, opened his mouth in surprise. At this time Vegeta has returned to normal, but through his breath perception, Son Goku discovered that even if he becomes a Super 3, he is not a normal Vegeta opponent. I'm afraid he will have to use Super Race God. HMPH, I really deserve to be someone I agree with. Vegeta hugged his arms and hummed. After all, Vegeta saved his life. No matter how arrogant Vegeta is, he is convinced by Vegeta. Whis, be careful. At this time, Vegeta suddenly gave a low voice, and the atmosphere suddenly condensed. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta's momentum began to change. In the previous battle with Beerus, Vegeta was caught in the gap because of his distraction, and Beerus launched a strong counterattack. At that time, Vegeta's energy automatically increased, allowing him to enter the transformation of Super Saiyan God. The state at that time really triggered the phaseless free work. It was just because Vegeta's realm hadn't been reached yet, and he couldn't keep that feeling at the time. Later, he also took a closer look, but only got a little bit of caution. The purpose of coming to the star of Beerus this time is to make Whis give him enough pressure to regain the feeling at the time. Vegeta closed his eyes and thought about it, and soon adjusted his state and entered the energy into the slightest. Whis, be careful. Vegeta flashed, and punched Whis. Not surprisingly, Whis flickered lightly, easily avoiding Vegeta's attack. Anyway, baguette is just the norm now, and it is still a huge difference from Whis, almost children and adults. In Vegeta's invisible detector, Whis' combat power value is shown as 100 Kyrgyzstan. Yes, it goes far beyond the original positioning of Whis. If you count the indifference and incomprehensibility, even if Vegeta bursts out with all his strength, he may not be able to beat Whis. Perceiving this, Vegeta's psychology that had already begun to swell again settled down. Is this the strength of Vegeta? It's amazing. Son Goku's eyes widened, almost copying all of Vegeta's actions. Although there is no memory of the original Son Goku, he also knows how powerful the original Son Goku is. However, Vegeta is a combined fighter of Son Goku and Vegeta, who combines all the advantages of the two and is a more perfect super fighter. So Son Goku is still very curious about Vegeta's fighting style. At this time, Vegeta didn't release how powerful aura. Just from his punching movements, it can be seen that there is no extra movement, all the power is compressed in a very small space. It looks like an ordinary punch. Son Goku believes he can't stand it. This is really good, your use of energy is correct. Whis did not always dodge Vegeta's attack, occasionally parry, carefully perceiving Vegeta's power, and then said, but you care too much about the control of energy, it's not good. The original intention of Wuxiangzi is to allow energy to adjust instinctively, but your control over it is too fine. You have to relax appropriately to stimulate the essence of energy, and only rely on consciousness to guide it. With soft hands and short mouths, Whis is indeed trying his best to guide after receiving Vegeta's food. And Whis is also a very good teacher, he can expose some problems that Vegeta hasn't noticed. Arouse the essence of energy, and will the consciousness guide it? Vegeta temporarily stopped the attacking pace, exhaled slightly, and tried again. The subtlety of energy means that the control of energy has reached a very subtle and superb level. That's why Vegeta has been paying attention to the control of energy. After all, it didn't take long for him to enter this realm, and he still needs to manipulate it carefully. To reach the point Whis said, one must first treat the energy into the micro as an instinct. Even if you don't deliberately control it, every attack you perform can reach the energy of the micro energy. This requirement is really high for Vegeta, so he needs to work hard to adapt. It's just that the realm of comprehension doesn't have to be proficient. Vegeta can wait for the comprehension, and then slowly cultivate. Now he just wants to enter that state. He is the most perfect super soldier. Perhaps there is something that others can't do. When it comes to him, there is absolutely nothing impossible. The nature of energy, Saiyan's nature of energy is that the more the war becomes stronger. So, if it's just for guidance, you can use only a little force, which is more convenient for unconscious control, and it can also grow in battle. Various thoughts flashed in Vegeta's mind. The manipulation of energy by his consciousness gradually relaxed, and his energy output was gradually decreasing. However, his condition is getting better and better. What? Whis' senses are the most direct. After all, he is playing against Vegeta. He naturally noticed any changes in Vegeta. Reduce energy output and reduce the burden of control? Really have an idea. Whis chuckled, and in order to cooperate with Vegeta, he also weakened his strength considerably. Gradually, a faint red light rose from Vegeta's body. Different from the particle form of God energy, these red lights are more like a flame form, seeming to be rhythmic with the flow of breath. It's just that these red flames don't seem to be very stable right now, and they are suddenly extinguished. But it is clear that Vegeta is entering a peculiar state. As long as the energy stabilizes, it is complete. It's really Mr. Vegeta. Whis was also a little surprised. Vegeta has just thought of a method, is trying. Is there a tendency to enter the state so soon? Then wait for him to complete the final perfection. Doesn't it take much time? Impressive. Son Goku and Vegeta, who were watching not far away, also had serious expressions at this time. They were both surprised by Vegeta's performance. Even if they don't understand impersonality, they heard Whis' description just now. At least the two of them didn't have a clue about the comprehension of ZZZ. And Vegeta touched the threshold so quickly. How long is this? It's a pity that they were shocked a little earlier now. Before their thoughts were finished, the energy of the red flame form stabilized in Vegeta, and Vegeta's attack became more rhythmic. Half a step without a sense of freedom, complete. Vegeta felt very strange at this time. The separation of consciousness and energy allowed him to fight with only a small part of his consciousness, while more consciousness was vacated. This vacant consciousness is like a soul separated from the body, watching the battle from the perspective of God. This allows him to see his performance more straightforwardly, and it is easier to guide him, just like installing a radar. And this is just a half-step incomprehensibility, so when he reaches perfect incomprehension, what amazing changes will there be? It's no wonder that this kind of ability can even be controlled by the gods, and it's really not an ordinary mundane technique. Vegeta manipulates this vacant consciousness, intending to test what this consciousness can do. It's a pity that when he started to control, the red flame on his body instantly extinguished, and he directly quit a half-step incomprehensive state. So, this is the reason why you can't combine incompatibility and incomprehension. Beerus thoughtfully. Just like Ultra Instinct, in the original work, Son Goku relied on the emptiness of his heart, and Gujing Webo's mentality was able to enter the ultimate freedom. Once his mood fluctuates, Zizai will break the power. Now Vegeta is in the same situation. Most of the vacated consciousness exists as a god's perspective, which can be used as a radar to perfectly perceive the 360-degree situation of the whole body and convey it to the brain. By retaining a small part of the consciousness in the body, the energy is guided to achieve a more perfect offensive and defensive battle. But once Vegeta is not satisfied with the status quo and wants to use that part of the vacated consciousness, he will break his work without being free. Therefore, he can no longer be compatible with the extreme intention of freedom in the state of no-phase free work. However, after the control of the energy becomes more proficient, he can increase his energy, and even perform a supergame transformation. After the transformation, he will enter incomparable freedom, and his strength will be even more terrifying at that time. Or, when the normal state becomes incomprehensible and can't beat the opponent, the energy instinct will automatically enter the supergame and transform. Anyway, these are the directions that Vegeta needs to study next. Amazing. Whis exclaimed, Mr. Beerus is indeed a genius. It is so simple to realize half-step incomprehension. Then you only need to remember this feeling, and then slowly deepen your understanding. You can reach perfection. The state of being incomprehensible. In fact, after Vegeta came here, Whis simply gave a few simple instructions. However, his few words seem simple, but in fact they are very eccentric, which just solves Vegeta's biggest difficulty. So despite the fact that Whis didn't seem to have done much, it was thanks to him that Vegeta was able to complete half a step without feeling at ease. Thanks to Mr. Whis for your advice. Maybe I need to borrow this place for a few days, but I will send some more delicious food from the earth in the future, which is the cost of renting the venue. Vegeta was not in a hurry to complete the perfect state of incomprehension at once, because he knew that he still hadn't enough control over the energy. If you barely raise your realm, your foundation will surely be unstable, and it will be difficult to enter the stateless freedom in the future. Just like the original Son Goku, Tournament of Power will not be able to find the feeling at that time in the future. It is the sequelae of reluctantly raising the realm. Haha. As soon as he heard the cuisine of the earth, Whis immediately smiled. Mr. Beerus is too polite. You can stay here for as long as you want to practice. Well, although the site is named Beerus, but if it is for the food of the earth, I believe Beerus will not object. As a result, Vegeta stayed logically. He remembered the half-step feeling of being incomprehensible, and he could re-enter at any time. And as his perception deepened, he slowly started to increase his energy, and soon he would be able to enter half a step without a sense of freedom under the condition of a full burst of normalcy. Seeing Vegeta's continuous improvement in his practice, Son Goku and Vegeta's eyes were red with envy. They are also learning from Whis freely, but the progress of the two sides is compared. Just like the two filmmakers, Vegeta is jumping at a speed of 20 ms, but they can't even reach 1 kilobit per second. Comparing people with people sometimes drives people crazy. No, Son Goku and Vegeta practiced desperately, banging the entire Beerus star, bursting with energy from time to time, thundering like thunder. Then, what's up? Too noisy, right? A human-shaped Cornish Rex cat in loose pajamas, rubbing his sleepy eyes, yawned and walked over. It's so noisy that I can't sleep, he stared, facing the place where the loud noise was made. It was directly a powerful energy bomb. Rumble. The energy bomb passed by, although it did not hit anyone, it exploded a high-altitude sun. The faces of the initiators Son Goku and Vegeta were covered with cold sweat. Son Goku bared his teeth. If you get hit by that thing, it would be terrible. He always did this when he fell asleep. Whis said with his hands behind his back. When the two suns over there were destroyed, it became a lot darker here, which is terrible. The star of Beerus has 3 suns, one of which has now been destroyed by Beerus. But sometimes Beerus's temper is too violent, it may destroy all 3 suns at once, and this is what Whis is referring to. After learning about these things, Son Goku couldn't help wondering. How did you restore the sun? Can you still make planets? At this time, after the sun burst, Beerus jumped onto a tree, hung his tail from the branch, hung upside down and fell asleep again. So next is the highlight moment of Whis. No, I just need to do it again for that occasion. Again? Rewind time a little bit. Just give him a little bit before he does something stupid. Who on earth are you? Oh. Vegeta watched silently not far away, and couldn't help but score 82 points for Whis' beep, and the remaining 18 points were 666. Well, if time goes back, Vegeta can do it too. But he can only go backwards for 1 minute, and if it is more, he will forcefully travel through time and space. This is because in terms of understanding the power of rules, he is a lot worse than Whis. As his understanding of the power of rules gradually deepens in the future, this time will definitely be extended. It can also be seen from this that Whis' strength is indeed unfathomable, at least now Vegeta is not sure to surpass him. So, how strong should the Grand Priest be, and above the Grand Priest? Vegeta couldn't help but began to think about it, and his mood was a little agitated. I thought he was about to reach the pinnacle of this world, but now it seems that he still has a long way to go. And who knows if there will be another Xeno on top of Xeno. There is a big Xeno on it. Then there will be a Xeno god, the Great Xeno god, and the corresponding. The Great Xeno demon? Okay, it's just Vegeta crooking it casually. If you really want to do this, it will drive people crazy. Suddenly, Vegeta's heart moved and turned to look a short distance away. Huh. 2 figures, one tall and one short, appeared without warning, facing Vegeta's side. Oh. When did the Star of Beerus have so many more humans? Are they selecting the next gods of destruction in the 7th universe? So, is there something wrong with that guy Beerus? Is he dying, Whis? The shorter figure opened his mouth, with all kinds of ugly mockery. His appearance is the same style as Beerus, and he is also a Cornish Rex cat, except that Beerus is thinner, and he is about to fatten into a ball. 6th universe gods of destruction Champa. Long time no see, Whis. Champa grinned wickedly, seemingly unkind. Behind him is the tall angel Vados, who is also Whis' sister. What a rare visitor, Master Champa. Whis held the instant noodles just soaked in his hand. In front of him, Son Goku and Vegeta, who had just been punished for wearing super gravity clothing, were doing all kinds of ugly movements awkwardly. Why is this scene so similar to the original scene? Vegeta rubbed his chin. Could it be that Champa came here this time also because of the Super Dragon Ball? Next is the start of the 7th and 6th universe competitions? But the timeline is a bit wrong. The god-to-god battle is more than a year earlier than the original book. Now that the Golden Frieza hasn't even come out, Champa has appeared? Vegeta had to suspect that his own influence caused the butterfly effect, but his butterfly wings didn't seem to be fanned to the 6th universe, right? Is there anything important? Whis put down the instant noodles and walked to Champa and Vados. Champa didn't need to explain to Whis, and said directly, call out Beerus. I see, please wait a moment. Whis flew towards Beerus's sleeping position. Although his strength is stronger than gods of destruction, it is a pity that he is only a servant, and his status is not as high as gods of destruction. In other words, in dealing with universe matters, he still has to take the opinions of gods of destruction as the mainstay. As soon as Whis left, Son Goku and Vegeta approached curiously. Son Goku said strangely, "Who are you?" "Lord Beerus, who looks like a fat man." "It's rude." Vegeta said unhappily, "This is Lord Beerus's twin brother, Lord Champa. He is the gods of destruction of the 6th universe." "That. Compared to Lord Beerus, who is stronger?" Son Goku heard that it was gods of destruction, and he immediately became energetic. "Don't ask such a question." Vegeta pretended to be serious, then he covered his mouth and smiled. "Don't you understand what you see with such a physique?" Vegeta. Champa yelled. "Oh, ooh, what a rude." Vegeta looked away pretendingly. For their conversation, Vegeta only noticed a little from a distance, and did not go up to join in the fun. Although he is very curious about Vegeta's strength and doesn't know how it compares to Whis, he can't be the same as Son Goku, asking about their strengths when they meet, and then dragging them to fight. What's more, Angel can't fight with all his strength, which is also a pity. In the realm of Vegeta, it is already difficult to find an opponent who can really make a full shot. It's not that there are no opponents, but either he is much stronger than him, or there are various restrictions, and he can't play to the fullest. By the way, Whis and I are brothers and sisters. If we are capable, we have a slight advantage here. Vegeta was full of confidence. Only at this time Whis came back with Beerus, and Whis spoke from a distance. "Sister, there are still objections now, because that was the practice of 1,000 years ago." "Oh, do you want to try it?" Vegeta didn't think that in just 1,000 years, how far Whis can progress. After all, their angel's years are in units of billions. "What are you guys doing? Isn't it just for small talk?" Beerus was upset. It was originally woken up by Son Goku and Vegeta, but not long after they fell asleep, they were woken up again, which is strange. "HMPH, Beerus, it's been a long time since I saw you, I thought you were dead." Champa grinned, "It's still the same duel as before, get ready." In a duel between two people, as long as one side proposes, the other side will fight unconditionally. Of course, it's not a battle of arms, but the food is more delicious than someone else's. Beerus, who has been to the earth, certainly has the upper hand. Just take a bowl of instant noodles and defeat Champa's hard-prepared dong-dong bird egg. The topic naturally led to the earth. After Champa asked Vegeta to search, he found that the earth of the 6th universe had been destroyed long ago, so he proposed 2 universes to hold a contest to determine the ownership of the earth in the Super Dragon Ball. Seeing this, Vegeta was a little confused. What on earth did Champa come for? If it is for the Super Dragon Ball, he has already collected 6, as long as he finds the last one in secret, there is no need to look for Beerus. So, this is purely for the plot. I am so idle that I came to find abuse. Baguette looked at Champa's appearance, thinking about it, it is really possible, after all, the other party does not look like a high IQ. With the positive response of Son Goku, Beerus finally agreed to a competition with the 6th universe. The bet was on the Earth and 6 Super Dragon Balls. At this time, Vegeta really wanted to make complaints. Now Son Goku and Vegeta are not humans on Earth. There is no reason to fight on behalf of the Earth, okay? It's just that he was still wondering if he needed to complain, and Vegeta over there looked over. "Now, I was curious from the beginning, is that person practicing incomprehension?" Vegeta pointed to Vegeta who had been sitting still in place. "What? Uncomfortable?" Champa's eyes came out. "This is the same as Zizige, a skill of God, and it is difficult for even God to control. Beerus cultivates to be at ease, while Champa cultivates to be at ease. It's just that Champa is lazier than Beerus. Even because of the twins, his talents are the same, but his incomprehensiveness can only reach the entry level, which is the state of Vegeta before he came to the Beerus star. Yes, and it's half a step beyond comfort." Whis squinted and smiled. "What? When did Vegeta realize it?" Beerus had been sleeping, he didn't know what was going on, and he was shocked when he heard it. He thought that if he worked hard to cultivate freedom, he would be able to catch up with Vegeta's strength, but he didn't expect Vegeta to realize half a step of incomprehensibility now. Then, if Beerus wants to catch up with Vegeta's strength, he can only comprehend the perfection and self-consciousness before Vegeta, and at the same time increase his energy. Can this be done in a short time? So, he may never be able to beat Vegeta again. How is this possible? Champa was even more incredulous, and shouted directly, "How can a mere human being cultivate the skills of a god?" Then he turned to Beerus. "Hey, Beerus, can I try his level?" "Whatever you want." Beerus shrugged, but he was happy. Test the level of Vegeta? He actually hoped that Vegeta would give Champa a good beating, then he would be happy to see it. Asterisk. Champa was not really asking for Beerus's opinion, and even if Beerus objected, he would not change his mind. So the moment Beerus just answered, he had already rushed towards Vegeta. Come on. Let me see if you really have achieved half-step incomprehension. Champa grinned, his fists hitting Vegeta's head without fancy. It is already a bit shameless to do such a thing in his capacity. But who makes him feel upset now? He was already very upset when he lost to Beerus in the food competition. Now I heard that someone is more advanced than him in comprehension of incomprehension, and it's just a mere mention of human beings. It's not bad for Champa to run away directly. Seeing Champa attacking, Vegeta didn't panic at all, but gave a faint glance, still sitting on the spot. Huh. Are you underestimating me? Champa was furious, unconsciously increasing his energy output. However, when his attack was about to hit Vegeta, Vegeta's body had disappeared in place, and Champa's attack naturally failed. An attack of this level is not effective for me. Vegeta's voice came from behind Champa. What? Champa turned around instantly. Vegeta was putting his hands around his chest, looking at him with a flat expression. Asshole. When did you run behind me? Champa grinned and snorted coldly. Aren't you going to fight back? Still afraid to fight with me? But I want to fight you today. After speaking, Champa rushed up again with his fists in his hands. He doesn't know the true strength of Vegeta, but judging from Vegeta's ability to comprehend half-step incomprehension, his strength is certainly not too low. Of course, he didn't recognize that Vegeta could reach the height of gods of destruction, so even though he was angry, he also wanted to teach Vegeta to find some psychological comfort, but in the end he only used less than 30% of the power. Champa's combat strength is 1.4 Jing, and his strength is less than 30%, which is more than 4,000 trillion. At this level, originally Vegeta had to transform into a Super 4 to compete. But now, he didn't even use his full strength under normal conditions, but with his elementary energy, he easily blocked Champa's attack. Vegeta's palm was lightly waved, or slapped or grasped or pulled. Champa's 4,000 trillion combat power attacks were all easily dismantled, and Vegeta was not affected in the slightest. This kind of posture feels a little bit overwhelming. It's really incomprehensible. Champa raised his brows, and suddenly became a little unbalanced, gritted his teeth and snorted coldly. But this level is not half a step of incomprehension, and I want to rely on this level. You are too naive to block my attack, right? Champa increased his energy output, and his power instantly exceeded 50%. Oh, Master Champa is getting serious, your companion is not good. Vados smiled, not knowing whether he really didn't see Vegeta's strength, or said that deliberately. Vados spoke, and naturally only Whis was the one who answered the conversation. He glanced at Vados, and also smiled. Is my sister trying to find out about Vegeta's strength? Why not watch it for yourself? Oh. You can see it. Vados covered his mouth and smiled. I just want to make sure he will not participate in the competition. If he does, it will be difficult for the 6th universe to win. That's right, Vegeta is special, Whis said. Oh? Vados raised his eyebrows slightly. What a special method. You should be able to sense it, right? Whis said with deep eyes. If I try my best, maybe I can't beat him. The words behind Whis were spoken quietly, only Vados heard them, not even Beerus. Vados' brows twitched slightly, although he was not surprised, he seemed to have noticed something. At this moment she was looking at Vegeta with interest, not knowing what she was thinking about. Huh. At this time, Vegeta, under Champa's step-by-step, finally displayed a half-step incomprehensive state. With the red flame energy entwined around him, Vegeta still looked so calm, with no waves in his eyes. In the face of Champa's offensive that has increased to 50% energy, his response method is still the same as at the beginning, either by patting or grabbing or pulling, which looks quite relaxed. Sure enough, it's half-step incomprehensible. Champa gritted his teeth and increased his energy output again, in a posture that he would not give up on Vegeta. But as his energy intensity gradually increased, Vegeta's energy intensity also increased. But what Champa promotes is the amount of energy, while Vegeta is improving the quality. Damn it, how is this possible? A mere human. Champa was shocked. Now that he has used more than 70% of his energy, he is still being restrained step by Vegeta, and it seems that Vegeta's understanding of the incomparableness is more than just half a step. How did he know that half-step incomprehension had just stepped into it a few days ago, and Vegeta has been consolidating his realm these days, and today he is completely stable? However, the nature of Saiyan's energy is that the more the war is stronger, Vegeta has inspired the rules of fighting, and now the non-community is the nature of stimulating energy. So, now his physique is more amazing than the legendary Super Saiyan. If Champa used all his strength as soon as he came up, Vegeta would definitely not have the opportunity to display his half-hearted incomprehension, and in the end he would have to rely on super force power to fight. Champa was wrong. He increased his strength step by step, allowing Vegeta to adapt to this attack intensity longer. With the blessing of Saiyan's physique, the energy instinct will drive it to automatically improve. The most important thing is that as the battle continued, Vegeta's perception of non-community rose another step, one step closer to the perfect level of non-community. It's a pity that it can only stop here. Champa's realm is here, which can't put too much pressure on Vegeta, and it can't cause realm suppression. Do you really think I'm just an ordinary human? Vegeta looked at Champa lightly. What do you mean? Champa frowned subconsciously, with a bad feeling in his heart. It means. Vegeta took a half step back and transformed himself with a bang, and the breath of God spread out. Of course it is not the realm of God, but the realm above the god of Super Saiyan Blue. What? Champa's eyes widened instantly. For the time being, this form is enough to beat you. Vegeta raised his fist and knocked Champa into the air. Incomprehensibility does not reach the perfect state, it will only weaken the strength for Vegeta, so if you want to exert more powerful strength, it really can only rely on transformation. Asterisk. When he first returned to this time and space, Vegeta's normal combat power was only 3 trillion. However, with the control of the energy in this period of time, and the feeling of incomprehensibility, his normal combat effectiveness has increased to 5 trillion at this time. From the normal state to Super Blue transformation, the final combat strength is 20 Jing. Strictly speaking, Vegeta's only Super 4 transformation is far more than Champa's 1.4 Kyo combat effectiveness. Even if you only use Super Red, you can reach 10 Beijing combat effectiveness. However, Vegeta chose Super Blue for nothing else, she just wanted to show off this new transformation. That's right, it's a show. Super Saiyan Blue is the first time it appears in this time and space. Even Son Goku and Vegeta are not in control, or even the concept. Vegeta has been cultivating the control of energy during this period of time, so this kind of transformation state achieved through energy qualitative transformation does not even have to try. As long as he has this concept, it can be completed in an instant. This is. Beerus jumped up. I thought that Vegeta had realized half a step of being incomprehensible, it was already a very serious matter, and he had no hope of transcendence. But now as soon as Super Blue came out, Beerus instantly judged that this was another promotion above Super Race God. This is so special, how strong is Vegeta before he is willing to give up? What kind of transformation is this? Son Goku and Vegeta's eyes straightened immediately. They are clones of Saiyan, possessing the same physique as Vegeta. As long as they practice hard, they can definitely master the transformation that Vegeta can complete. Super Saiyan of Super Saiyan God, right? Whis glanced at it and judged it. Super Saiyan of Super Saiyan God. Son Goku and Vegeta repeated it at the same time, and immediately became too excited. It was enough to have this concept, and they immediately found the direction to improve their strength. Saiyan. It seems that you Saiyan of the universe has mastered an incredible transformation method. Vados sensed the change in Vegeta's breath, and couldn't help but sigh. Whis chuckled softly. It's true, sister. There are currently 6 known transformation forms for Vegeta. Although this one is newly realized recently, it is not the strongest yet. He can remember that when Vegeta was playing with Beerus, he broke out in the Super 4 state, and his strength at that time far surpassed the current Super Blue. If in the Super 4 state, Vegeta can make a Super Blue transformation, it will be even more remarkable. That's it. Vados looked at Vegeta with bright eyes, with a small smile on the corner of his mouth. It looks like Master Champa is going to suffer. She was right, Champa was punched by the Super Blue baguette, but he refused to admit defeat, just as if he had been attacked carelessly. However, he also knew that Vegeta was much stronger after being transformed, especially the breath of God released from his body also made him jealous. So Champa burst into full energy form directly, and even displayed the subtle energy, screaming and rushing towards Vegeta again. It's just dyed his hair and put on a breath of God. After all, you are still immortal. Don't be too arrogant. Champa's firepower was full, and it was a chaotic fist. Vegeta completely took over Champa's attack with just one finger. It was not until Champa was finished that he said, "Please call me Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta." Boom. Vegeta knocked Champa to the ground with a punch. Regardless of consciousness or energy, Ultra Blue Vegeta far surpasses Champa. No matter how much Champa toss, it is useless. This is not an order of magnitude. Seeing Vegeta's current state, Beerus felt sour in his heart, but seeing Champa being beaten, he has a different kind of refreshment. In summary, he is very sour now. You bastard, I can't spare you. Destruction. After Champa was hung and beaten, he turned into anger and directly shot a full energy form of destruction light. Seeing the inky black destructive light ball, Vegeta couldn't help but feel a little bit emotional. Back then, it was because of the destructive light sphere of Beerus's full energy form that he fell into the crack of time and space, and finally gained the strength of his current body by accident. At the beginning, he tried his best and couldn't block this level of attack, but it was a pity that it was completely different now. Vegeta simply reached out his palm, and with one hand he blocked the destruction of Champa's full energy form, with complete ease. The space was distorted, and the destructive sphere soon disappeared in front of Vegeta's palm. What? You are even capable of time and space. Champa's eyes widened in an instant, and his face was full of horror. Is this really just a mortal? The strength is so much stronger than him, and he is even chasing Angel. Realizing that he would not be an opponent anyway, but losing to a mortal was unacceptable to Champa, so he shouted at Vados directly. Vados, kill this human for me, I don't want to see him anymore. Absolute. In terms of character, Champa is much worse than Beerus. He is the kind of person who will be triumphant and show off if he succeeds. However, once he fails, he will turn into anger, blame all the guilt on others, and then directly punish him. No, Master Champa. Vados refused without even thinking about it. Champa's eyes were about to split, and he roared, you dare to disobey my orders? Did Master Champa forget? Angel can't fight. Vados had a faint smile on his face, but people who knew her could detect subtle changes in her tone. Because Champa's disrespectful behavior towards her has made Vados angry. After all, Champa had been with her for hundreds of millions of years, and of course he was aware of it, and immediately lost his breath, and didn't dare to yell and yell. Ha 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 ha. Beerus, who was delighted to hear, suddenly burst into laughter. Champa was worried that he had nowhere to vent, and immediately shifted his firepower. Beerus, are you going to fight? I don't fight loose snake. Wow ha ha ha, Champa, you are so funny. Beerus didn't talk to him at all. Damn it. You wait for me. Champa gritted his teeth and threw down these words, turned and left. Today he has lost his face, and staying here will only be even more embarrassing. When will he not leave at this time? However, Vados did not keep up. Vados, aren't you leaving? Even if Champa didn't dare to yell again, he couldn't help being angry. Vados said calmly, Master Champa, go back by yourself. I still have some things to deal with. Champa heard that this woman is having a temper. Damn it. So, why did he give him a woman when he was assigned to the god servant? Women or something, really is the most troublesome. In the end, Champa left alone, and he had no face to stay here. Especially before leaving, he vaguely heard Beerus laugh more unscrupulously. However, no one cared about Champa's mood. At this time, Son Goku and Vegeta have leaned in front of Vegeta and asked about the Super Saiyan blue color. As you think, in the state of Super Saiyan God, then perform Super Saiyan transformation. I call this form Super Saiyan blue. Vegeta didn't hide it either, and directly told them the key to transforming. Anyway, even without him, it won't be long before Son Goku and Vegeta can understand this state of transformation. It's better to sell personal favors with the trend now, after all, there are not too many favors. On the other side, Whis smiled and said to Vados, Sister, is it appropriate for you to do this? There is nothing inappropriate. Vados relaxed, his appearance at this time was completely different from before, and he looked a little lazy. Her attention was on Vegeta's side, but she said in her mouth, always let that guy know a little bit, I'm not the one who will be used to him casually. And oh, if you dare to sue Grand Priest, I won't spare you. Well, you don't know who I am. How could I do this kind of thing? Whis covered his mouth and smiled. Don't talk about my sister, even if someone else committed the crime, as long as it wasn't an unforgivable crime, Whis wouldn't chew his tongue. He is such a person. It can be said that he is pure-hearted and has few desires and has little selfishness. It can also be said that he is a bad guy. But Sister seems to pay too much attention to Vegeta, right? Whis reminded. Vados blinked his beautiful eyes and showed a nice smile. I always feel that I have an unexpected relationship with him, and what, she didn't say. Whis is not Vados, I didn't understand, but he didn't ask much, just a thoughtful expression. Asshole Vegeta, how far are you going to improve? You've been studying incomprehensibility, and you have come up with a Super Saiyan blue color. Beerus spit out, his tone full of sourness. He was really refreshed when Champa was there, but now as soon as Champa leaves, the unhappy person becomes him. Vegeta squinted at him, shrugged and said, if you can spend your sleeping time on cultivation, Mr. Beerus, maybe you would have been comfortable with it. Anyway, you have lived for more than hundreds of millions of years. Beerus stagnated for a moment, and yelled into anger, it's not your turn to teach me. Just after the words were finished, he shouted at Son Goku and Vegeta again. You too, practice with me in the next time. Before the start of the game, you must control the blue transformation to ensure this game. The victory belongs to our universe. Huh. Yes. Son Goku and Vegeta were stunned by the roar. However, they are now servants of Beerus, and they still have to be obedient. The most important thing is that it is good for them to practice with Beerus. Although the game is just 5 days later and the time is a bit rushed, it is not impossible to complete the transformation. Seeing Beerus's reaction, Vegeta shook his head. Whis is right, he is really not honest. However, such Beerus is not annoying. As for the competition in 5 days' time, Vegeta hasn't decided whether or not to participate. In fact, he didn't have much interest in this competition. After all, the level was so different. If he went to participate, it would be abusive, and it didn't mean anything at all. Of course, if you go to be an audience and watch a live special effects blockbuster, it should feel good. Well, it's decided, only if the audience is not participating. After Vegeta made the decision, he found Whis and told him to go back to Earth to help them find the remaining 3 contestants. After all, Son Goku and Vegeta are not original anymore. They cannot leave the star of Beerus without permission, so Vegeta still has to rely on Vegeta to travel to the Earth. Whis wanted to say that he wanted Beerus to make his mind about this matter. But when he turned his head to see, Beerus was cultivating rare, so it wouldn't be bother to bother him. After thinking about it, Vegeta refused to participate. Even if Beerus disagrees, it seems useless, right? So he nodded and agreed. Then, there is Mr. Laubaget for everything. Mr. Whis, you are polite. Beiji nodded, and was about to use instant transmission to go to Earth. Vados, who was tasting the Earth's food, suddenly said, "Go to Earth? Can you take me with you? I want to go there and see what the planet is like on which a character like Mr. Vegeta can be born." Vados' words made Vegeta stunned for a moment, but he didn't think much, thinking that Vados was just curious about the Earth, so he nodded and said, "Ms. Vados is willing to condescend to be a guest on the Earth, of course welcome. But you don't have to go back to the 6th universe. Isn't there a game venue that hasn't been built, right? That's not a problem." Vados smiled and said with a smile, "For Angel, building a game venue of this level can be completed with a single thought, and it will not delay time. Since you said that, let's go." Vegeta didn't care. As for Champa, without the assistance of Vados, would it be difficult for one person to find all 5 contestants? What does it have to do with him? Then, please ask Miss Vados to take my hand. Vegeta stretched out his right hand towards Vados. Huh? Vados blinked beautiful eyes, seemingly puzzled. But she didn't ask, but graciously took the hand that Vegeta had reached. The touch is a bit cold, soft and tender, not at all like Angel with amazing fighting power, but like a big sister next door. Vegeta was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the Angel race, except for the skin color, was not much different from the people on Earth. Huh. Soon, Vegeta took Vados's hand and disappeared from the star of Beerus. Yeah, it feels a bit subtle. Whis blinked at the place where the two disappeared. He always feels that Vados is a little too close to Vegeta. This is not the position that Angel of the 6th universe should have. If this matter is known to the Grand Priest, Vados will definitely be punished, and the punishment will not be light. But thinking of what Vados had said before, Whis pondered again to himself. Is there really any connection between them? What hasn't happened? Even if he is Angel, it is impossible to understand. In the end, he can only hope that Vados didn't do stupid things for fun and for a while. Vegeta took Vados and teleported directly to the yard of Bulma's house. Bulma's house had become his temporary residence. Is this your home? It looks pretty big. Vados looked at the surroundings. Obviously, she also has a certain understanding of the human world. Otherwise, based on her Angel's vision, the unit is all based on the planet. How could it be big for a courtyard? On the Earth, this is indeed the home of the richest man. Vegeta replied casually. So if you have any general needs, you can just mention it. Basically, you can find everything the Earth has. Ordinary. Needed? Vados smiled and said nothing. The two of them walked forward for a while, and they saw Mrs. Bref, who was Bulma's mother, who was watering the flowers. Huh? Vegeta, are you back? Bulma missed you after going out for so many days. Mrs. Bref squinted a pair of smiling eyes, and she walked over and hugged Vegeta's arms while pinching his muscles and said, "By the way, when will you go on a date with me? I envy Bulma as having your husband." Say. Because she hugged her tightly, a pair of headlights clung to them, and Vegeta could feel the touch. Dot in the lamp holder. In this regard, Vegeta was full of black lines. This thick-lined fake mother-in-law seems to have wanted to date her with her since the first time she saw him. Compared with the casual talk of others, she seemed to be serious about Vegeta. But even if you don't mention that she is Bulma's mother, even if Mrs. Breff is well maintained, she does not look much older than Bulma. She is also a 70-year-old woman, and it's really good to keep a girly heart like this. Ends? At least Vegeta was uncomfortable, always feeling that the other party was deliberately teasing him. Don't mention this. With great difficulty, Vegeta pulled his arm back from Mrs. Breve and quickly changed the subject. Is Bulma at home? Mrs. Breve showed a trace of regret on her face, nodded, and pointed to the building. Yes, it seems to be in the living room. Okay, you're busy, I'm going to find Bulma. Vegeta ran away without even having time to introduce Vados beside him. Oh, why did Vegeta bring a beautiful woman back? Do you want to marry the third room? I'm so active, why can't he see it? I had to bring a woman back from the outside, really. Mrs. Breff was talking to herself, but her expression did not change much. She was still relaxed and happy, humming a little song, and ran to water the flowers. She seems to have a good impression of young and strong men, but she doesn't catch a cold with her husband, Dr. Breff, and she doesn't know what the psychology is. Bulma? Are you married? Vados raised an eyebrow. Is it? Vegeta didn't know if he was married. This world does not seem to require specific rituals, and living together directly counts as a family. Although nothing happened between him and Bulma, he has moved in now, and his identity seems to be Bulma's husband. Soon, the two came to the lobby of the house. Bulma was sitting on the sofa in a daze, staring blankly at the TV that didn't know what was playing. Hearing the sound, Bulma didn't look back, wondering where he went. Bulma. Vegeta called. As a result, Bulma jumped up like a conditioned reflex, looking at Vegeta in surprise. Only after seeing Vados next to Vegeta, the expression of surprise instantly solidified and turned directly into a grudge. Ahem. Feeling the change in Bulma's feelings, Baguette immediately understood what he coughed, and quickly explained. This is Angel Vados of the 6th universe and the sister of Whis. She will stay on the earth for a while, so I just go straight to it. Brought here. Sister Whis? Bulma froze for a moment, then realized that she had misunderstood. It seemed that Vegeta and Vados didn't seem to have any intimate actions either. Welcome. Bulma's attitude immediately changed 180 degrees, and Vados was welcomed in with enthusiasm. Hello, my name is Bulma. If you want to travel around the earth, I can be your guide. There are a lot of beautiful clothes and jewelry. Oh, yes, there are many, many foods. Whis likes it very much. Bulma chirped and Vados listened with great interest. When I heard about those beautiful clothes, jewelry, and food, my eyes lighted up, and he immediately got together and chatted with Bulma. The more they talked, the more excited they became, as if they were about to go out for a stroll. They forgot Vegeta directly. I remembered Bulma's excited look when he first entered the door. At that time, Vegeta had a sense of accomplishment. He didn't expect that he would be forgotten just after turning his mind. Alright, who makes women the natural enemy of Saiyan? In that case, let's find 3 contestants in the competition first. Vegeta didn't care about Bulma and the others, and he had a goal after a little contemplation. The strongest warrior on the planet today, if he doesn't count himself, according to the ranking should be number 17, Fat Buu, Piccolo, number 18, Son Gohan, Trunks' son Goten. In addition, there is also a Master Roshi who has become a fan. It shouldn't be easy for number 17 to convince him. Pass first for the time being. Fat Buu is too accidental and may not be of help if he goes. In this way, he can only find Piccolo, Gohan and number 18. Kit thought for a while and decided. Anyway, just make up the number, so it doesn't have to be too much trouble. Gohan is not strong enough. It doesn't matter, throw him into the spiritual time house, let Piccolo go in and abuse him for a day, and promise to get back to the mysterious Gohan state. Only money on the 18th? It's okay. On the face of it, Vegeta has already established a relationship with Bulma, and he has any money. Even if it doesn't, it's a big deal to rob Satan. Isn't it easy? Soon Vegeta found Piccolo and Son Gohan and told them about the matter. Son Gohan wasn't very willing, but Piccolo was energetic when he heard it. It's not that Piccolo is interested in this game, but Vegeta asked him to take Son Gohan into the spiritual time house. He is very motivated about this matter. Relax. I promise that when he comes out tomorrow, even if he can't exceed the peak, he will definitely be able to return to his previous level. Piccolo immediately agreed, and then flew to the Celestial Temple with Son Gohan. In this regard, Son Gohan has no choice but to help. Because of the last cloning incident, he was in awe of Vegeta, and basically what Vegeta said was what he said. Now add his respected uncle Piccolo, and the two agree, he has no other ideas besides being obedient. After finishing Piccolo and Son Gohan, it is the 18th. Vegeta went to look for Klin subconsciously, and after a long circle, he finally found Klin at the Kamiseun house. You're looking for number 18. Clint said inexplicably. Why are you looking for number 18 for me? It's been a long time since she and number 17 have appeared. You're not. Vegeta stopped as soon as he started talking. Seeing Clint's reaction, why didn't he know that he made a mistake? This is not Dragon Ball's main time and space, and Vegeta hasn't disintegrated, so it's normal for some details to be different. Vegeta searched for the memories of Son Goku and Vegeta, only to find out that Clint hadn't really been with number 18, and he had been living in Kamaseunia for these years. Vegeta's words were not complete, but Clint roughly understood what he meant, and somewhat twitched. I think the 18th is very beautiful, but how can she look at me? So. Haha. I see. Vegeta understood. In this time and space, Clint also liked the 18th, and also asked Shenron to help her and the 17th pick the bomb. It's a pity that the 18th didn't give up on this, but retired with the 17th. This rhythm is right. Although Vegeta didn't dislike Clint, but objectively speaking, Clint did not have any charm. A high cold goddess like number 18, because of Clint's desire to dismantle the bomb, and because of the wish that he could get from it, she took a different look at Clint and gave him a hug. It's impossible to think about it. Cough. Baguette gave a dry cough and said, I thought you would secretly pay attention, so I asked you for the news. Since you don't know, then I will think of a way. Clint was a little embarrassed when Baguette said this, scratching his head and smiling awkwardly. Actually, you can ask Den. Although the humanoid has no breath, if it is a god, you should be able to find it. That's true. Vegeta patted his forehead. In the original work, Son Goku couldn't find number 17, and he also went to ask the god Den. Because at first I thought I was married to Clint on the 18th, Vegeta didn't think much about it, so he found it directly. Unexpectedly, the two did not come together, and Vegeta fell into a blind zone for a while, but Clint reminded him. Okay, then I'll go first. If any of you are interested in the game, I will gather at the temple in 5 days, and I will take you there together. Vegeta left this sentence and left. Without the relationship between Son Goku and Vegeta, it would not be so easy for people on Earth to watch the battle between universes, but Vegeta said that it is not difficult to ask for a few places. Of course Clint wanted to broaden his horizons, so he immediately began to take the lead in contacting Tien Shinhan and others. Leaving aside these things, Vegeta quickly found the locations of number 17 and number 18, which are still the original animal sanctuary, relying on Den's ability. In fact, Den's ability is through the use of the power of rules through the divine position of the Earth gods. If Vegeta wants to learn it, he can learn it, but this ability is not very useful, and it takes time to realize that Vegeta's energy is now focused on incomprehensive freedom, so he ignores it for the time being. Oh. Ooh. Roar. Vegeta has just landed on the islands on the 17th and 18th, surrounded by the roar of various beasts. In addition, there are some huge woods and jungles around, giving him the illusion of returning to prehistoric times. Is this a pterodactyl? A winged dinosaur flew over Vegeta's head, causing the corners of his mouth to twitch. MMP, Master Vegeta, there are creatures that dare to fly above him? Well, these are just some small details, and Vegeta didn't care about it. Only soon he saw a scene similar to the original. A group of hunters landed on the island with heat weapons, and went straight to the depths of the forest. Hearing what they mean, it seems that they are here to hunt some rare species. You people really don't know how to learn your lesson. He appeared on the 17th. Facing a group of ordinary people attacking with hot weapons, he still seemed very serious. It took a while to take down the team of about 10 people. During this period, no one was injured, but they lost their resistance and tied them up with rope. Number 17. Why are you being so polite to them? According to what I mean, let's do a half-body discomfort first, so that they won't dare to come again. Number 18 waited for the dust to settle before appearing, and when he came, he stood with his hands around his chest. Takao on the side. Obviously, she has seen this situation many times, and she does not approve of the gentle approach of the 17th. On the 17th, he glanced at her and said, I like my life very much now. If I shoot too hard, I will be complained. Well, it's up to you. Number 18 helplessly stroked his forehead. This kind of dialogue has been conducted many times, and this time on the 18th it was completely abandoned. But before they could turn these hunters to the police station, a figure slowly walked out of the forest. Who? Number 17 was immediately alert and frowned. Are there any accomplices? Be careful with number 17. Number 18 has a serious expression on his face. The people who came this time don't seem to be the same. I feel it too, it shouldn't be an ordinary person. Number 17 showed confusion. Why do powerful martial artists come to poach animals? Is this necessary? Or does the other party have no purpose? Number 17, number 18. Looking at the two humanoids in front of him, Birgit couldn't help but smile a little. Nearly 10 years have passed since the cell incident of that year, but the appearance of number 17 and number 18 has been maintained at the appearance of less than 20 years old. It's just that no one believes this kind of artificial person now, right? They not only have kindness and love, but also have a lot of human touch. Who are you? Number 17 immediately became vigilant. Sure enough, it was aimed at them, and they even knew their names. Looking at Vegeta on the 18th, Willow frowned and said, "It looks familiar, and there is a tail behind him." Saying, "What?" Number 17 was also reminded by number 18 before he noticed the tail behind Vegeta, and became more vigilant in his heart. Vegeta smiled slightly. "You too, there is no need to be so nervous. I am not here to be your enemy." "Who are you?" Number 17 asked again, her voice low, without any slack. "Okay." Vegeta sighed softly. "First introduce yourself." "My name is Vegeta. In terms you can understand, you can think of me as a combination of Son Goku and Vegeta.